isn't intimidated as a football program. We're running towards the SEC. I think that goes without saying. We've looked forward for the last several years for this partnership to be a part of an amazing conference, the best conference in college football.
Billy Bowman sounded like Danny Stutsman, who sounded like Jackson Arnold, who sounded like Brent Venables. The Oklahoma Sooners showed humility and respect, but there was no hero worship for the rest of the Southeastern Conference. Not for Georgia, not for Alabama, not for LSU or Ole Miss, and certainly not for Red River rival Texas. Oklahoma's brand message in their first SEC media days was said in a lot of ways, Coach, but their goal was clearly stated at the podium at the Omni Hotel. The Sooners are coming to win football games and championships in the SEC, and Oklahoma takes a back seat to nobody.
And they're not intimidated.
Nope. Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football with Jason and the Coach. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. He's the coach, Philip Roybal. And if you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame college football. Coach, fun day today. First day, Oklahoma at the SEC Media Days. Got a little trash talking, subtle trash talking, but it was there.
Sure.
What did you see from what did you think of what you saw? We're gonna play a few videos that I clipped up a little bit.
You know what? I actually have to tell you, today was my first day back to work from vacation, and so I've not seen anything today on anything. Right. So this is going to be new to me today too, but I can just imagine.
Right. It little trash talk towards Oklahoma, little trash talk towards Texas. It was kind of fun. BV bell rung. BV is the best. Yes, he sure is. Thank you for the super chat. Stink, yes, Cat. Welcome into the show, everybody. Stink, Rob 077, Benjamin Cisco, Garrett Bullware. Who else we got in here? Timothy Green, thank you for coming in. Shelby McDonald. When you get here, make sure that you check in. Benjamin Cisco, happy to see everybody in here. I know we got Shelby in here who became a new member as well. The first lady over from Respect the Hedges. She's also on Shawty's Just My Damn Opinion most every week. She is one of my favorites, Miss Shelby, the first lady. She should be here after Respect the Hedges with Coach I and those guys in just a bit. Welcome into the show, everybody. Mars Jam, Stevie G, Steve B, Brian Sandlin. Thank you guys for coming in. We really appreciate you. Hey, Coach, got to, happy birthday is in order from everybody here. We appreciate and you being here with us tonight. But happy birthday, Coach. I'm glad you had a wonderful weekend, and hope you had a great night last night.
Thank you. It was good. Turning 64 is a blessing. There's a lot of people that never get to 64, so I'm blessed.
I think you I believe that. It's glad to have another year, man. Glad you got another year.
God's not done with me. God's not done with me, brother.
Not yet, he's not.
Oh man, thanks, man.
Happy birthday to the coach.
I really appreciate that, guys.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you too, man. I appreciate you being here. Hey, guys, good stuff. Yeah, God's not done with the coach. God's not done with us just yet. And hey, what a good day, man. There was a couple of different things that went around that it struck me as very different, Coach, between what you saw. I mean, obviously Texas wasn't on the podium and stuff today, but the questions that were being asked to coaches like Lane Kiffin and Kirby Saban,
Smart.
Kirby Smart,
Kirby Phillip.
pretty much everybody. It was about something to do with them being there. They asked all of the coaches there today. They asked the coaches yesterday as well what it was going to be like with Oklahoma in the league. Obviously, you just saw what Brent Venables said is we're here to play, we're here to win. You kind of heard the same thing from all of them. They were all on brand. As I said, and I'll just say that, it was a clear message, and you kind of, I guess, you want to come in with respect, and I think they did that. But you don't want to come in with that, like I said, hero worship, and they certainly did not do any of that.
And have no reason to, Jason.
No.
They have no reason to. I mean, Oklahoma football has been, like you said, and you've said this before, they're a true blue blood football program. They've been around a long time. They've won a lot of ball games, and they have never turned down playing anybody that wanted to step up and play.
And that's the thing, and it's what Brent said. He a couple of times he said, look, this is a marriage of elite and elite. This was already the most elite conference in the country, and they got two elite programs. Somebody asked him if he saw the rivalry changing with Texas, and he was, no, we're still going to hate each other just like we always did, essentially. Horns down. Yeah. So let's see. How do I feel that ESPN bet has Oklahoma at 7.5, and some of their analysts say even lower? Now you're feeling that kind of hate that USC gets comment. They've been commenting. It's been going on for this is months. 7.5 has been there for quite a while. I appreciate the question, and I think but there's nobody in Norman that even there's nobody in that locker room. There's none of us people that follow the program that think that that's it even. You have to be realistic, and Oklahoma is never going to be settling for it. No matter what conference they're in.
No.
And yes, they're playing a tough schedule, and that we've heard all the narratives, all of them. Yes, you're playing a tough schedule, blah, 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 blah. We understand that. But guess what? Oklahoma gets up for every game.
Yeah. It don't matter. And I tell you what, just fight on. I'll say this. They got Oklahoma at 7.5, and some say maybe less. Well, I'm going to tell you what I think about that. First of all, preseason picks and all that. You know what? At the end of the day, I don't give a shit. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, you know what? I don't give a shit who you are. You are going to miss on some things. I mean, you're guessing. You're playing the numbers. The teams are not the same from year in to year out. Now, programs can be strong and continue successes, but at the end of the day, let me ask you this to everybody. Last year, did y'all think Georgia was going to get beat by Alabama? I didn't. I didn't see anybody beating Georgia last year. But it happens. And so again, that 7.5, you know what? Write it on a piece of toilet paper and go wipe your ass with it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like I said, we've talked about it a bunch, and no shade to anybody else, but the truth is, one year in a row for a lot of these teams, and Teddy Lemon said it last week, and there was a lot of people talking a lot of shit about it, didn't like it that he said it, but all this slander coming this way and saying that kind of stuff, and Teddy even said today, you had a guy from Texas A&M kind of go at Teddy, and a lot of people have said, if you're not winning, why, blah, 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 and he was like, look, today, from what I heard from Teddy today and on the tweet that he had, and I liked it, he said, look, yeah, maybe we sleptwalked for a couple of years here and there, stuff like that. And obviously nobody's gone and pointed any fingers at Lincoln Riley, but they certainly could have for the way that he left the program. But they're in better shape to compete today, right now, than they ever were. Yeah. Than they were ever going to be. And, he talked about, and I think this is right. What is this? That is why they play the games. Yeah. And, as far as that goes, Fight On, I'm going to tell you now, I've got a video that's coming out. It should be out in the morning. And I'm seeing projections out there that USC may do very well. Now, again, and I can tell you, it's just, in my opinion, even the analytics can show wrong a lot of times. The truth is, you don't know you keep hearing these things about the offensive line being rebuilt and stuff as if they don't know how to recruit those guys. They're making a big thing about Caden Green going to Mizzou. They recruited him to Oklahoma, and he played well at Oklahoma under Bill Beanbowl. You think he was the only one that they got in here that does that? You know what I mean? It's like the guy's won a Joe Moore Award, folks. He's won a Joe Moore Award. So
there's a lot of shit that happens, from the start of the season to the end of the season. Some just like offensive lines, we're in the same boat, Jason. We're in the same boat with our offensive line. We lost 2 tackles to the NFL, and so we're rebuilding a little bit at the offensive line. But again, you don't know how they're going to gel together. They could come together great. They could. They might not be worth a shit, or somewhere in between. But there's too many factors for people to have to factor in to say, well, you're going to win X number of games. I just and as an old coach, I this. I don't like all that bullshit. Let's put the ball between the lines and let's get after that shit, and then we'll figure out what it looks like.
Sorry about that. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that they, all day long, and really, it's been going on, but it was a continuation of what's been going on this, for the last year or so, where, just like that, people saying 7.5 and shit like that. And it's like every question that got asked, either goes, are you ready for the SEC? Do you think you're ready for the SEC? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, stop acting like you people are so freaking superior to Oklahoma. They won 14 out of 27 Big 12 championships. And listen, I'll tell you, only in the last 10, 15 years and so has the SEC actually been the best conference. It's still Oklahoma. They don't forget you think that ever it doesn't. The standard is the standard is the standard, and we're coming to win. That's what they're saying.
And the tradition there is strong. It's deep and wide.
Yeah. Nobody cares about what. In Norman, and it's funny because they're saying on all these other shows right now. We could probably peek in on 1 or 2 of them right now, and you'd hear them saying, "Man, they're just overconfident and cocky and blah 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 blah." What the hell did you say? What did you expect them to say? Come in, we're going to kiss your ass and freaking bow down to you? Then what would you have called them? You know what I'm saying? Like, and as I said, Venables said, I think you're going to realize what this first year, we'll see how it goes. And, but to me, I think somebody said it up here. Who said it? Yeah, realized something today. If Riley hadn't come in, we might never have gotten BV. Josh might have been the head coach. That's not terrible, but we needed a defensive coach. And I agree with that. We've been saying that. The one thing I would say about Josh is he had a top 5 defense in the SEC last year. That was definitely probably better, but they're probably not going to be on the same level.
Also needed a strength coach.
Definitely. Definitely. But look, somebody else said, where was it? I got the vibe from Brent while he was talking at the podium that he is about to show the nation what this team is all about. Look.
I tell you what, if he doesn't feel that way, then he better go ahead and check his shit in and move on. He better feel that way.
Knowing how he is and knowing who he is and being around him, what do you think? I mean,
you know what? And again, that's why he's going to be a great head coach. You know, he lives in reality and he understands what it takes to be successful, whether it's in the SEC, the Big 12. I don't give a shit where they're at. He knows what it takes to be successful. And I'm going to tell you what, he is a fierce competitor. And you can, if you haven't seen that, then you better take a step back and look again. He is a fierce competitor, and that's the culture he's creating at Oklahoma. They kind of slid back a little bit while Lincoln Riley was there. And that culture is back again, back to the days of old where they were beating people's asses every time they step on the field. And again, people feared Oklahoma when they had to go play them. And I'm telling you what, he's bringing that culture back.
Yeah,
I can't say that I'm super excited about that, but I guarantee you, it is happening right here before your very eyes. And those that want to talk shit, because I'm going to tell you what, you're going to eat your friggin' words.
Oh, yeah. And you're getting a lot of it from Missouri, and then, of course, Texas and stuff. You know, they parse through everything that gets said and all that.
Missouri, them some bitches ain't done nothing since, them suckers. They don't have room to be talking shit.
Listen, and I mean, look, good for them that they win and won 11 games last year and beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. You know, I could sit here and be petty about it. It like Drink was today whenever he actually sat there with a straight face and said, you know, he entered the portal when we talked to him. We thought we didn't know if there was going to be a chance or not. I was like, dude, come on. Welcome to the show.
Jake!
Set the tone, college football, Alabama. Jake Merrill, what's up, my man? How you doing?
What's up, man? Sorry, just finishing up with over at Around the Table Sports. We ran a little longer, but than we thought, but all good. It's great to jump in with you guys. I was excited. Then you hit me up today, Jason. And man, love it, man. Coach Romwell, how you doing?
What's up, my brother?
How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Life was good, man. Life was good.
Happy birthday to Coach.
It was
your birthday.
Yeah. 64 years old, brother.
Dude, you'd never guess. You still kicking strong, Coach.
You're a good liar, but I love it.
No, truly though, man. Happy birthday, man. I hope you had a good one.
Well, that's the same idea. Thank you.
We appreciate you coming into the show there, Jakester. Charles Crows Fly High. He renewed his membership. It's his 8th month of membership. Thanks a lot, Charles, for coming in and renewing that membership. And then he put in a super chat with nothing in there. I think I may have already read something from him, but we appreciate you for the super chat as well, sir. Then we also have Neilio from KC Mo. Good Tuesday evening, everybody. Good evening. And Mr. Coach, thanks a lot, Neilio, for coming in. We appreciate you. Again, Stink Ass Cat as well. And Shelby, the newest member of the Hall of Fame Mafia family. We appreciate all of that, guys. The stash is here. That's right, Chicken. Welcome into the show, Chicken. Benji, welcome in. Right on that, he's David Chamberlain. Hankster, Garrett Bullware. Yeah, man. It's been a good day.
Chicken, quit following me, bro.
Daddies, we appreciate you coming in as well.
Chicken's a stalker, man. You didn't know
Chicken, man.
Oklahoma fans sound like a sour swipe. Nope. I'm going to tell you this. Fight on. We're not upset that he's gone. We're upset that he keeps talking about Oklahoma. And I've told you this before. This isn't the first time. But I can tell you this. Nobody cares about what SC's got going on. Nobody cares. And the one thing we know is Oklahoma is in a better place that Lincoln Riley left. That's all there is to it.
Agreed.
It's a different deal.
SC's number one, man. Read between the lines.
And you know that's coming in here. And as far as Texas is concerned, here's what we got to say about Texas, as usual.
The brand has finally returned. Your brand.
And you know what that is, right? You know what that is.
Oh, yeah.
And now we know what this is, right?
Oh, yep.
There we go.
We do.
That's for all our Texas fans. We love you.
Birthday wishes
Not.
from the chicken. Happy birthday, Coach. Drink our me $20 super chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Chicken.
brother.
We
Cheers to
appreciate that.
Coach. Cheers to
We got
Coach.
worse every year under Lincoln. That's a fact. It is a fact, Stevie. Thank you for coming in as well. Everybody's telling the happy birthdays. Kim, thanks for coming in. Jimmy Satterfield, thank you as well. Good to see you guys in here. We
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Let's see. Benji says Indy and OU both got beat by Tyron Swoops, a tight end. Are we done? You know what else happened?
Like we really give a shit.
Won 7 out of the last 10, bro. You're talking about Tyrone Swoops.
Yeah.
BB wasn't the head coach.
I didn't even know we were recruiting that sucker. That's how excited I was. Tyrone Swoops. Hey, I'll tell you, if you want to see good tight ends, I'll take you and show you a bevy of them.
That was one of the 7 wins that they've had out of the last 25 Red Rivers. 7 out of 25. We're not
7.
We're not the same, Texas. We're not the same.
That's funny, man. I love it. I love it, man. You know, it's interesting too, because we were just talking about this over there. We had a Georgia fan hop in over at Roundtable Sports, and they asked, do we think Texas and Oklahoma deserve to be in like the SEC? Like, are they ready for the SEC ball, or are they just like a low, mid-tier team that's going to get, wiped off the face of the earth? And I think everybody agreed that no, they do deserve. They probably should have both been in there a long time ago. But it's funny as you go through and you watch like kind of some of the. And it'll be interesting to see more so on Texas side, but with Oklahoma and the SEC Conference Media Day stuff and what they're saying, man, I'll tell you what, those guys like, and I kept saying they're like ready to fight. Like I think they're super pissed off with the disrespect they've gotten. And then, Texas has gotten a lot of media attention. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, Texas is getting all the love, and they've had one good season, one really fair season, and it was good. But I mean, look, to be honest, they had the most open path to a national championship of any Big 12 team since the playoffs started, and they gagged it away. Lost to Kalen DeBoer for the 2nd year in a row.
I mean, you can't really say that's gagging it away because KD does a pretty damn good job. 2 years in a row beating the guys.
You're recruiting in the top 5, and you've been there. That's your 3rd year, and you've been recruiting in the top 5 and have that talent level. They were supposed to win. No, don't
get me wrong.
They were supposed to win.
Yes, 100%.
It is what it is. So one of the other things that got brought up that I thought was hilarious, and they even came at Billy Bowman about it. Let me just play it for you.
Now in the SEC, the officials said, that's not going to be a problem. Horn said it is. So just kind of what's your take on that?
I mean, it shouldn't be a penalty anyways. Everybody has a hand signal. If you let a hand signal affect you and affect the game, maybe you shouldn't be there. So, I mean, allowing us to throw the horns down, that's cool and all. But, I mean, if it can't be a part of the game, then, I mean, it's pretty soft.
On the aisle in the
soft.
Go ahead.
Soft.
Whoa.
Soft as baby shit. This is exactly what Lincoln Riley's football teams are too. I'll just kill two birds with one stone here. Welcome in. Hey man, I didn't know if you were going to want to deal with this for very long there, Jake.
What? Yeah, what are we going off on tonight? I didn't even see what the topics were. Is it just overall media or what?
Yeah, I mean,
SEC media.
Yeah, SEC Media Days. And real quick, Garrett Bulwer. So where you become a member, whenever right there next to where you subscribe to the channel, there should be a button that says join. It'll take you there. You can pay for that. Jump in there and become a member, man. I appreciate that. That's very cool. I can
and the rest of you guys, if you don't mind, wipe your feet.
Make sure.
Oh, you know what? I'm not going to ask nicely. Go wipe your fucking feet.
I love it. That's right.
Hey, all you Oklahoma fans, make sure if you haven't already done it, run over to the Hall of Fame Sooners channel and subscribe there as well. We need to get up over 1,000 so we can kind of help the algorithm, on just pinpointing it for all Sooner stuff. If we can get it up over 1,000, that'll help us there a lot too. So make sure you're subscribed to both channels. Hit the like on both channels. That helps with our engagement, as you know. We've got some new merchandise in the store as well. We've got the Texas Fears Oklahoma hat, a horns down hat, and then of course Coaches I Don't Give a Shit and competitive depth shirts. The horns down symbol though is only there until Friday. So if you don't get something ordered out of those two on the left, top and bottom, can't get them. So they'll just be for giveaways there on out. But the Texas Fears Oklahoma will be there. We'll have some other ones up there as well. But yeah, listen, and Coach and I were talking about it. What you continue to hear throughout the day to ask to all three players, Jackson, Danny Stutsman, and of course Billy Bowman, was, are you guys ready for the SEC? They asked it to Brent Venables, are you guys ready for the SEC? It's almost as if, they're just trying to talk a bunch of crap. And that right now, if you could look in on some of these other ones, and we've heard it a lot from different places. Barrett Sallee goes on. This is a guy that's on Sirius Radio, and he starts talking about how, regionally speaking, he says, I don't see how they can compete well enough to win the SEC, to be one of the top teams in the SEC. He says they're not going to be Alabama. They're not going to be Georgia. They're not going to be Texas. Well, I hope they're not going to be Texas, because Texas doesn't do this very often,
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that's an interesting comment to make on Oklahoma. I mean, you look at some of the moves they're making, what they're doing recruiting wise. Hey, Shelby, how you doing? Good to see ya. What's up, Shelby? But you see, what they've done recruiting wise, what they brought in from a coaching standpoint, what they've continued to really prep for, and how they've built over the last, this is year 4 for BV, correct? Or year 3?
This is year 3.
Year 3, perfect. So then you look, year 3 is kind of, especially if you've had that chance to kind of rebuild something, that the structure got real weak, right? The foundation got real weak. Not a good sign, because that's never been the case really for Oklahoma. Oklahoma, as I've said over and over again, is that team, when you look at them, they've always come across as a team ready to punch you in the mouth, right? Yep. I think now he has things in place where you will see that, and you will see him dominate with this mindset of, hey, we fight as one. Or, he has like that Leonidas mindset, man. Like hardcore. How many warriors am I bringing? Well, everybody's a who, right? And then I'm telling you what, like, that's Brent Venables has that energy. And what's crazy is every one of his coaches all portray that same energy, especially his D coordinator, his offensive coordinator, last dude you want to fight in a bar, right? Like, Seth Troll kick your ass. But that's the mindset he plays on offense.
You're not wrong.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, that's just who he is. So to say like they're not ready, that's the wrong stance. I think
disrespectful.
It is. I mean, you're definitely ready. Definitely ready. Like, and you got the right mindset for it too, because it's going to be a grind. And you can hear that in the way the players are presenting and what they're saying at this SEC Media Day. I mean,
Yeah.
especially Billy Bowman. He's like dead serious. I think he wants to try and like kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like he has that mentality right now. You want to take someone's head off.
That's
You know,
that's our whole defense. And this is Coach. Go ahead, please.
No,
I think you're going to say what I was about to say. Please do.
I was just going to say, guys, all they're doing, is lighting a fire under their ass.
Oh yeah.
Because, the more disrespect that comes their way, the more they're busting their ass in the weight room, the more they're busting their ass on the practice field. I guarantee you, even if OU wasn't a good football team already, they are lighting that fire under their ass, and they're going to get the best of OU every damn game. Now, what that best is, we don't know at this point. But I wouldn't be lighting a fire under their ass at all. And that's what they've done. And I think they're going to be surprised. And I'm telling you, and Jason, you've heard me say it before. I think OU can be in the college playoff. I truly do.
And whether they get there or they don't get there, I mean, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. I think your first year in there, you could, but to me, I think 8-4 is like that bottom. And I can tell you by listening to these guys today, if they're 8-4, they're a disappointed group of players, because that's not why Danny Stutsman and Billy Bowman came back to go 8-4.
Completely.
They didn't come back to go 8-4. And there's not a team on that schedule that makes OU scared. There's never going to be. It wouldn't matter if it was Bama. If they do play Bama. They're not afraid of Bama. It wouldn't matter if Georgia was on the schedule. They're not afraid of them either. Doesn't mean they don't respect them. It means they're not afraid. And you can't be afraid coming. What did you expect them to come in and kiss everybody's ass? Hell no.
No. But here's the thing about them too, is they know
were respectful. They just weren't gonna bow down to anybody in the SEC.
Well, agreed, and they shouldn't. That's not the mindset you should have as a player, especially a player on this sort of team with this sort of coaching staff. But here's the thing about Oklahoma that I think is interesting is I don't think people realize, not just people, but they do as a team. I think they see, but not everyone does, is how close they were to being one of potentially those 4 teams last year.
Yeah,
because they very well could have been Texas. Look, if they would have stayed after they beat Texas, if they would have won out, I truly thought they would.
Possession games,
100, man.
Texas,
they knew how close they were.
On in 3 games that were definitely, but look, they got in and they did their thing. And I'm not even hating on Texas for what they did. They didn't beat Oklahoma though, and that's the one thing that nobody seems to talk about is, you beat them. You shut them down at the 1 yard line on 4 straight plays. They're taking on that. You said it yourself. They've taken on the attitude of Brent Venables. They've taken on his demeanor, in the way it's like I said it at the start of this. They were on brand today. They said it in different ways, but they were on brand. We're here to compete. We're here to win championships. When that happens is one thing, but they're not afraid of anybody here. That's all there is to it. What's up? Welcome into the show there, First Lady Shelby. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate that. Yep, Billy said he came back for championships. He said, I haven't been to a college football playoff. I haven't been to a Big 12, or I didn't make it to the Big 12 championship game. I'm here to win championships. They got 1 year left. Him and Danny Stutsman both. They both said. What's up there, Sharpshooter? Good to see you, my man.
What's up, Brensky?
Sharpshooter.
Yeah. Look, a lot of people seeing 6 and 7, 10 and 3 OU's past struggle in the CFPs. Yeah, because why would you? But that's stupid. It's stupid to judge them on Lincoln Riley when this is not Lincoln Riley's football team anymore. Go ahead, Jake. Finish up what you were saying.
No. I mean, that's the truth. In the end, I wouldn't judge him on that at all. But at the same time, as Coach kind of said, right, you know, you give that locker room material, especially being asked over and over, are you ready? Right? Like,
Sure.
are you ready? You know what that does
No,
to
I'm-
like, the
yeah.
mindset? You know, coach, you could speak to this. I mean, with teams that you built, right? What with that sort of material that people would give me potentially, especially with you guys, from your standpoint, how does that motivate a team?
Oh hell, that's you live off of that. I mean, you continually, you're going through practice and they're dragging ass, and you say, I used to tell my teams, you know what? I guess what they're saying about your ass is right. You're practicing like a bunch of damn losers, and that's what they're telling you are. So, and you know what? It's amazing how that turns a practice around. And next thing you know, and you can hear the kids saying, "Damn it, coach is right. They're calling us losers, and we're dragging ass. Get going." And you're going to post every bit of that bulletin board material, and I can guarantee you, Venables and his staff have got that shit all over the place. They probably put it in the guys' lockers. I'm telling you, it is all over the place. And you know what? Like I said, the SEC, by asking all that stupid shit, they're creating a monster, which we already know is a monster anyway, but they're creating a monster that at the end of the season, I guarantee you, Venables and his team are going to say, "Hey, I guess we were ready."
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it's crazy. That's the last thing I would want to do with a coach who has a mindset like Brent Venables.
Well, just like that. And you just had Fight On said how you feel about BV not even being in the top 10 of head coaches in college football on many podcasts. I don't care. It's a ranking by a bunch of people that don't know shit.
Well, I don't think he cares either, to be honest with you.
But
You know what I'm saying?
you know what?
You know what he told me?
Like I just said in the comments, by the time he's coached as long as Lincoln or as long as Sark, I promise you he'll be ahead of both of them.
You know what BV told me about that? He said, "I don't give a shit."
That's right. I mean, in the end of the day, he doesn't, man. Like, that's
You're
not
right.
his game is not.
That's not important.
No.
Man,
And
if you
there's
let
no
people
win there,
come
man.
in,
not every podcaster knows anything. And listen, I can tell you this, Barrett Sallee, what I was saying before Jake popped in, Barrett Sallee literally said regionally, I don't see how they can compete with Alabama and Georgia and Texas year to year and compete in recruiting. They're out recruiting everybody but Alabama right now that they're talking about. Georgia, Alabama, they're right. I mean, they're going to be right there. Texas is struggling to get players that are in their own state.
Yep.
They're making excuses about NIL for kids going to Oregon. Oil money's bigger than Nike money, folks.
well, and regardless, I literally just talked about this. The NIL is an interesting thing, right? Like NIL, okay, it plays a part, but again, when it comes to recruiting, kids also want to play, and their families want them to play for quality coaches. They want to play with teammates that they enjoy. They want to play with people that make them feel like they belong.
Yep.
I'm going to be honest. NIL it does play a factor. I'm not going to say it doesn't, because it definitely does, right? Like, yeah, you got the NIL money, great. You're going to do great. You're going to use it. Awesome. That's the way that's what we're at now. Use the money. But the next part of that is kids are not just going to commit for NIL, right? Because in the end of the day, $100,000 difference here and there when you're making 600 to 1.5. Okay, like if you're making 650 at another school and you make 600 here, really, that's not that big of a difference anymore at that point. You're sitting there saying, okay, but do I get developed better here or do I get developed there? Do I have a better connection here or do I have a better connection there?
The personal relationships, the same thing they're doing at Alabama.
Mm-hmm. And what staff, what team can help them go to the league? I mean, let's be honest, guys. These guys going to the collegiate level, they're all looking to take that next step. Yep. And you know what? It's about relationships. It's about the relationship those coaches have. If you've got coaches that have coached in the league and now they're coaching at the collegiate level, they've got built-in relationships already. And those kids want that. They need that. They know they have to have that to move to the NFL. And like Jake said, a few dollars ain't going to make a big difference. As a matter of fact, at the end of the day, truly, a few, even if you don't get any damn money up front in NIL money, but you got a shot at making it into the league, that's where you're going to make your money anyway.
Well, the truth is they're going to be getting paid on a revenue share deal with the salary cap and everything else.
Amen, brother.
100%. Well, and Chicken says they want to play where they get paid. In the end, 3% make the league. I don't get me wrong. Like, you want to get paid,
they're going to get paid.
You're not going to get paid. I'm not saying you're not getting paid, but I do think like when you look at some of these like top recruits, right? Like we're talking like our top 50, our top 100, that pay between schools. Yeah, maybe some schools are dropping a serious dime to get them to reconsider. We have seen that being the case.
Never going to not.
But that's because they can do that because they have a relationship already.
Fact.
So they're still considering the relationship and how they fit in with the team. That's still a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they're not just going somewhere 100%. I'm only going here because, okay, Juju Lewis, I'm only going to go to Indiana because they're going to pay me $1.8 million. Right? Like,
come on.
Yeah, are you actually going to go to Indiana? Like, really? Are you going to go to Indiana for that? I don't, when maybe USC is willing to pay $1.5 million. Yeah, right? Or Colorado's willing to pay $1.6 million. Come on. Like, at that point, it is based on some relationships.
And it's people that are the people that are saying that are the people that aren't getting it done. That you're going to really sit there and make the excuse to people that Oregon has more money than Texas, that they can afford. You're putting Lamborghinis out in front of DKR for recruit weekends. I mean, look, you can make excuses. We can talk about it all, but Brent Venables has out-recruited everybody in the SEC, not named Georgia and Alabama, for the last 3 years. The last 3 cycles. They've put guys in the league, a bunch of them, both had Oklahoma and Clemson, and they know to look, build the relationships. You can say what you want. You can make excuses about it being an NIL thing all you want to. In the end, not every kid is just looking to get the highest amount of money. And most of the time, it's not just the kids. Why do you think that Williams-Nwaneri didn't end up going to Oklahoma? Do you think it was just because he was pretty much ready to lock in for a long time, and then all of a sudden his mother said, nope, you're staying home. You're going to Mizzou. And they dropped a big old bag on him. But the guys that don't show up, you probably didn't want them. I said that on Jay's show last week. If all it is about money, then you didn't want them anyway. I guarantee you they didn't want them. Shotty said it last week. This is one of the things that I thought was one of the best things he said. If you lock them in on money, you're going to lose them to money too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's about personal relationships. It's about building relationships, and it's about selling them on your vision for what you're going to do and what they've done in the past. You can say,
well, and they got to fit in.
He's put guys in the league. They had 4 freaking first rounders on one defense one year at Clemson.
Yeah. That was impressive.
Yeah. I mean,
well, and guys, the other thing I don't get, and like you said, Shotty stated about if you win them with money, you're going to lose them to money. That couldn't be any truer. But kids also need to go where they fit in. Because I want to tell you what, you talk about a terrible friggin' nightmare for a kid is to go somewhere to play and not fit in. And even if they're a great player and they don't fit in, they're not going to play very well because they don't fit in.
Mm-hmm.
So, we lost a great one to, probably the best recruit of 2025 to Ohio State last week. And again, I'm going to say it. If we had got him
at all, I don't buy it. The Corey Moore, get out of here with that.
If we would have got him, great. But at the end of the day, we didn't. And you know what? Good luck to him. He's not at Notre Dame. So at this point, I don't give a shit. I mean, he's gone.
You can only get who you can get, Coach. You get the guys that you're supposed to get, though, too.
Well, I tell you what happened is we recruited another kid at his position that I think was going to be a huge challenge to him. And some kids, guys, and that's why I'm not going to name names, but some kids will step up to the challenge. Others will shy away from the challenge. This one obviously decided to shy away from it.
Would you say little ones? What do you say? Little ones line up, or what is it?
Little ones line up, big ones. No. Little ones bunch up, big ones line up because we're going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
I like it, man.
Yeah.
That's a great saying.
Look,
man,
and this is okay. So all the disrespect is mostly not coming from your Georgias or your Alabamas or even.
No.
There's been some from the LSU side a little bit lately because that's who LSU is, and it is what it is. But I've actually had a lot of good interactions with LSU guys though too. A couple that have been pretty bad. Mostly decent interactions with Tennessee folks. A couple haven't been cool. Mizzou is terrible, but they're mid. Who cares? We've got some good Mizzou guys that come into this program. Rob is one of our guys. We got what's the other guy? Richard Shear comes in here. He's cool. They've said good things. But look, this is what you usually get from people like Coach I, Shelby, Shoddy and them. Whether look, I think SEC doing something stupid with all the disrespect we're showing OU. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of it, the reason is, and you know why I think a lot of these people bring that up and make these stupid lists, and I've been meaning to bring this up for a while. These lists are so clickbaitish. That's all they're for. It's clickbait. So that they know that they're going to get 1,000, 5,000 views, 20,000 views, whatever, because they know Oklahoma fans are going to tell you to go fuck yourself.
And Jason, I got to tell you, we see that same shit at Notre Dame.
Sure.
It's all about clickbait. We had some dumbass, I don't even remember, and I don't remember a lot of these names and who they were with, because, again, I don't give a shit, because if you're going to say stupid shit, you're very irrelevant. But we had a guy, even on the polls, had us ranked like number 30-something.
Right.
Come on, dude, pull your head out of your ass. I mean, but it was clickbait, and guess what? He got a lot of damn clicks, and unfortunately, he didn't get one from me. I can promise you that. But he got a lot from the Notre Dame fans because they're in the middle of his ass. So he's getting what he wanted. He's getting all the clicks, and so that's what. And you're 100% correct. That's what a lot of this shit is about, is getting the clicks.
He says, can Sark play Mac, Waddle, Smith, and Jamel too? No. You know why not? Because he wasn't there to recruit them, first and foremost. And even if he was, yeah, fine. But Alabama recruited those guys. And they had Julio Jones before that. And come on, man.
Yeah.
That's not where Clemson was when they needed Brent Venables when he got there. He turned their defense around, helped them become a national champ. They were good on offense. They were always good on offense. The defense is what Clemson had to have. They were already cooking whenever Sark got there. Hell, Lane set it up for Sark. Get the fuck out of here. Come on, Benji. Hey, you know what? And that's the other thing. the guys that run the analytics, matrix analytics, they've projected the most accurately over the past 10 years, basically. Their accuracy is right on with their math. And they have 17 college football programs in all the major conferences that use their analytics for hiring and firing coaches and all that other kind of stuff. They have Sark as middle at best. He's not well-rounded. It'll be on a video that I'm dropping here tomorrow too. It's numbers that tells you that. It's the same way that I'll tell you that. And I'm not, look, good for Sark. He did what he did. And they needed him. But the idea that you can replace 11 guys that quick and all of a sudden you're just reloaded, it's the biggest loss wasn't even the 11 players. It was Bo Davis. He developed those guys. Watch and see what PK does without Bo Davis this year.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That's for sure with Texas. The thing is, granted, this year it does with Texas, it does help them a lot though from a scheduling standpoint. And I was just saying this over there. It's like, man, if they would have had
landmines out there though.
No, not at all. I mean, I thought they had Georgia earlier in the season. I said, well, man, that's going to be a game that Georgia got to really, really look out for. But no, they have them at this week 7. So I was wrong. So that's going to be Georgia should be rolling by then. But you know, and the only reason is because that's their mom.
Oklahoma too. You're coming off the Red River and get to host Georgia. That's 2 losses, man. That's 2 losses.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Who do they have before Oklahoma? They have a bye.
Both of us have a bye.
Yeah. So it's going to be, you know, they do have a favorable schedule that helps them stay healthy. But
look at if A&M can put it together with Mike Elko,
100%
put into the room, you know, and they've put a bunch of it in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you got to play them on the road. They're sick and tired of your shit. And hey, don't think that baseball thievery probably won't bleed over in. Well, you know it's going to bleed over into everything else with the fans, but it became a lot more important football game. I'll tell you that over that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Approaching him before he ever got done. DN is fine. If you're soft in the middle, what do you think they're going to hit you in the SEC? In the middle.
Ooh, well, that's the thing, right? Is when you're playing some of these teams,
especially Georgia.
Georgia. Yeah, they stick to what they do, right? Like they have an MO, and especially with who their OC is, man. Like you know, and there's Shoddy right there, but you know, yeah.
So where the women at?
I love it. So, and then you got Texas losing a couple games. Nobody sees maybe Arkansas, Mississippi State, A&M, Florida. That's a lot of games to whew, man.
They're going to lose 4 games, boys.
I'll tell you
4.
I'll tell you this, and that's what I think is going to happen. Now, listen, the model that the CFB professor has does not have that. He's got them going. He thinks they'll go 9-3 personally, but his model says that they're going to either go 12-0 or 11-1, and they have a favorable schedule in the Big Ten that first year for what it is. They don't have to play Ohio State. They get Penn State at home. Michigan, it's early enough that maybe they can get, you know, if they're good enough that they could go in there and they think. I don't buy. I think they lose 3 at least. I think that's more like 4. But what I'll tell you is this. I think that the biggest problem at USC is this. They're not recruiting at home. They're not winning. I saw a graphic today. Alabama has like 4 or 5 guys in their top players are from California. Oregon's got 4 or 5 of them. USC has 1. You're not winning.
Hey, Jason.
You're not winning.
Jason, I'm going to disagree with you on that statement. I don't think that's USC's biggest problem. Their biggest problem is their head coach.
That's what I was saying. He did the same thing. He did not even get the Oklahoma kids when he was at Oklahoma. Why do you think Okie Light got good at the end? Because All
They were
those
getting
kids were
Oklahoma
going to-
kids.
All of those kids were going to Stillwater. The best kids in Oklahoma were going in Stillwater.
Yeah.
Because Lincoln wasn't recruiting them. If you're not winning your home state, I don't care how well you scheme it up.
No.
What are you doing in Georgia until you lock up California?
Well, especially this year. Like, because,
Anytime.
it rotates in
California,
general.
bro. Come on.
Oh, yeah, but California will have some down years. But I will say this, though, is that it's this year, man. You look at what California talent is out there, and it's like, whoa. Like, they got a lot. They got a lot this year. I mean, and don't get me wrong. Like I said, typically they have a lot. But at the same time, like, yeah, it's weird that with him is he just, why does it seem to be a trend then of like not being able to get into some of these places and focusing on like what's around you? I mean, even if you're coaching at University of Washington, which Washington's not well known for having like a bunch of football talent, right?
They're a good
You get some.
solid program. It's a solid program. They've won.
Well, I'm saying like
I mean,
the state of the high school like talent, right?
Oh,
They don't. It's not like you got a lot, right? You get some, okay. But again, Washington, what you'll do is you'll still try to lock down those who are there because that's a key piece is continuing to keep what you need home, right? I think it's I'll tell you, it's few in between, right? With Oregon, Oregon's unique. They're probably one of the few schools who's always been able to go outside of their state really well and continue to pull in from just kind of all over. Oregon's always had that. I don't, that shoot even back in the day, but
bro, come on. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sooner Cowboys, what the hell are you talking about? You watched the same shit we watched. Come on. That's silly stuff. He was not forced out. Go ahead. Continue on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. And then I saw Kim Hurst ask, she's like, Jake, what's Bama's record this year?
No.
I think there's their main games, but I think you get past Georgia, then you feel really good with that momentum going in, right? I think one of those games that's very, very difficult is I'm going to be honest, the Oklahoma game is what the one game for me that I'm probably the most worried about due to the fact that you have Auburn right afterwards and it's away at Oklahoma. I would say, man, I'd probably say 11-1 with just the way KD does it, right? But even then, I could see. I'm gonna be honest, like with the way this team's, where their mindset's at, where everyone's gonna say you're not even relevant in saying this. Alabama, if they stay healthy, right, and they have the defense comes together, they are a 12-0 team, right? They are. They can win the close ones. And they'll have some blowouts. They can be a 12-0 team. There's a lot, though. Again, it's an SEC we're talking about.
Sure.
There's a lot of challenges, 100%, just like it is with every team.
They've got a tough schedule, too. And a tough
100%.
Tough road schedule, too. They do get to host Georgia, and they've had Georgia's number. But that's with Saban, so we'll see, And I feel like Georgia's – look, I'm not sitting here telling you Oklahoma's going to win the national championship. I have never said that this year. I've not said that. I can see a path, and I can see a path to 10-2. I can also see 9-3. I think a lot of it'll depend on if you get a couple of breaks to go your way or not, and just how good the defense is. But I do think that this is a defense that could lead you to different heights. Just like I said, I think some things moved up the timeline, but I've always said 2025 and Sooner Cowboys. That is it. He was, you were saying, let's see, Stink-Ass Cat, you said he was talking about USC. No, he wasn't. He was talking about him and Joe C having a mutual agreement. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Come on. But I would tell you that Alabama's not going anywhere, and we know that, and we've said that. But if you're going to get Alabama, you got a great chance to do it at home this year in year one. When they are, I know it's the end of the season. You'll know what they're about for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Oklahoma's not coming into this thing afraid of anybody, and you're going to protect your home more than anything else. That's where you'll get up for those games. So you guys talk about how hard it is to win on the road all the time.
Well, and here's the thing with Oklahoma, what's going to be interesting too, is that in Alabama, I think Oklahoma is going to give every single team their best. Alabama is going to get every single team's best, just like Georgia will get every single team's best. Those teams, it's going to be interesting. The thing is with this, and I know a lot of people are like, well, are you crazy to even say like Alabama could go 12-0? Kalen DeBoer went to the University of Washington, went 11-1 in his first season. And then after that, he almost went, I think he went 13-1 the second season because he lost the national championship.
Yep.
So you got to say, like, he's inheriting something at Alabama that is already has a really strong foundation, has a lot of talent, and he's done it with less at other places everywhere he's been. I mean, if you ever heard about him taking over at Sioux Falls, even then, like Sioux Falls, they were not a very talented team, right? You see what he did that first season. He was like, oh man, we just weren't very good. The facts are in that first season, they still like make it to like a national championship and they lose.
I'm gonna, I want to kind of piggyback off of that though, and I know Kalen DeBoer is a hell of a football coach.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt. I'm still not sure that he's going to have a great year at Alabama this year, and I say that. There's coaches that come in and take programs that are not very good, and that's kind of their MO. They're builders, and when you got to come in and follow the legend,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. His ass is still sitting down the hall in an office. I mean, that to start with is a little bit. You got to have a little bit of a twitch going on with that being there, and it's, I don't care who you are, that's going to be a little intimidating. And again, you've got boosters, you've got employees within the athletic program. There's a lot of things in that culture, and how many times is Kalen going to be told, you know what, Coach Saban didn't do it that way. Coach Saban didn't do it that way. And that's not just going to come from staff. It's going to come from some of the players. It's going to – and so I still got to see how well he can maneuver all those landmines. I do think he's a great coach, but he's got some landmines to maneuver through.
Well, and you're spot on, Coach. Like, I think there's almost more pressure because Kalen DeBoer, I don't know how much he falls in just based on who he is. And you look at him, he's taken over back at Sioux Falls. Like the coach he took over for then was like a legendary coach. So he's kind of already had this, granted, it's Nick Saban, it's on a much higher scale, right? Like there's way more eyes on you. You're right with the boosters. Alabama has the expectation to be at this level. I almost think there's more pressure on Kane Womack than there is though on Kalen DeBoer, where I think that's where maybe some of that pressure falls off.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is this: I think it will all be determined because I'm sticking my neck out in the line saying like why I think they'll be successful, right? Because people are like, well, hold on, but it's all going to be determined based on how this team buys into what he sells. If they buy in, they fully buy in and stick together, they will do it. But if there's even the slightest, if there's even the slightest non-buy-in during, especially you'll see it really when you're getting into those tough, close games, as you know that.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, because it is, the pressure is, and you know what, guys, pressure can do a lot of things to a lot of people.
True.
And if you've never been, because I don't think Kalen's ever been in that kind of a pressure cooker. And like I said, when you take those jobs that, you build, yeah, that's great, because you know what? With those jobs, you have nowhere to go but up. But when you get put into the pressure cooker, woo, that's a whole different world. And how do you respond? And he may do incredibly well. We don't know, because there's no doubt he's a winner. I mean, that's not even in question. What's in question is, can he handle the heat? Because and especially after a loss, it's going to be really hot in the kitchen.
Yep.
So,
Nick, it's a great point. I think that's the big question mark with all of this is especially in the first year with Alabama. Is you're sitting there going, man, what does this team take on as its identity? Right? Do they take on that it's us versus the world, we are one, or are there any cracks that cause separation during times of adversity? So far, we've seen them. It appears they've taken on this mentality. That is the mentality he's selling. Now, what you really, as you know, Coach, as you get into the season, that will either hold together, that glue is strong, or it wasn't enough, right? And so we'll find out. I mean, I'm excited. I'm optimistic about it, but you are completely right, and I agree, and that's why, man, I think I'm just so dang ready for this frickin' season to start, because I want to see what's successful and what's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, and like I said, I think Kalen DeBoer is a hell of a football coach. Well, and I'm not the only one that thinks that. There's a lot of people across this country, but again, pressure does some crazy shit to people, so we got to see what that pressure does.
Here's one thing I would say, though: the pressure about him, and they still have, according to a lot of the what you see as far as recruiting is concerned, they still have at worst a top 2 roster talent on that roster. He's one with less, Coach.
Oh, I agree, but you know what?
And he's still recruiting. He's recruiting great. And for Kane Wommack is the guy that I'm getting from a lot of people that this guy is definitely one of the better defensive coaches in the country.
But like Jake just got through saying, you can have a lot of that roster back.
Yeah.
But do you have the buy-in of all those players? And like I said while you were out, is, you know what, right down the hall from you in another office is the past head coach.
You have to see him do it.
Friggin' legend.
Right.
And I don't care what people say. When the legend is a few doors down from you, that's pressure. And how different people handle pressure differently. And he may be a great head coach. No, I'm not going to say he may be. He is a great head coach.
He is a great head coach.
That's proven. That's proven.
Yeah, no doubt.
But it's not proven in this scenario. And you know what? It may take him a couple of years to get that legend out of the house, so to speak.
My only thing is, again, it's not like he took over what you had to take over at Oklahoma, though. You know what I mean? As far as talent's concerned. So it's like, if you're going to take it over, and you take over for the GOAT, but it's not like they lost so much talent that they couldn't, that they're not going to be, that they're going out there with a bunch of freaking JUCO kids. You know what I'm saying?
But and I've coached in the situation where they had a lot of talent.
Be different. And it's a completely different style of, where they lead with offense, whereas they used to lead with defense.
And I got to tell you, and again, going to that point, defense is the name of the game, guys. We can talk about all these high-flying offenses, but you know what? You're going to win with defense. And so that is a change in philosophy. And again, where do those kids buy in? And do they buy in fully? And I was going to mention this. I came into some programs that had great athletes,
Mm-hmm.
but they game in and game out, they piss down their leg, even though they had great athletes. So if you don't have them all doing this, if they're doing this or even just this, you're not going to be successful. So that's where I'm saying part of this, if they're all doing this, great. But there's got to be something of this. And especially if they lose one early, guys, if they're here, that's going to turn into this. And if they lose another one, it's going to turn into this. So there's just so many variables that are going on here that I think we're all excited to see what that looks like and what happens. But again, Alabama is Alabama, and they're going to figure it out. And Kalen DeBoer is a hell of a head football coach. I'm just not sure it's going to happen this year.
I will say this to one thing. If there is one time in his full career, when you're young, when you're taking over a program that's 1-11, which he's done before, right? With Eastern Michigan, you look over and you say, if there's one time, even for every coach on this staff, every single one, if there's one time where you would say is the most difficult coaching job you've had, I would say it is this one. And people are like, well, what do you mean? This should be easy. No, this is the one time where all your energy and effort will be spent into this season alone. And the reason is because you are trying to get everybody on the same page. You're trying to make sure that your coaching staff and everybody is on point. And because you're right, like they're coming in with pressure, but at the same time, I think there's also this their own like expectation of what they should be doing, right? And what they should, like I said, Kane Womack, we think Kalen DeBoer has a lot of pressure. Kane Womack is the one who has some serious pressure. You are taking over a defense from Nick Saban. Now, I will say this, and I just said on the last show, if you are somebody, whether it's business, whether it's a dad, a husband, in sports coaching, shoot, I did it in law enforcement, but you find those people who are very, really, really good at what they do, and you gain their knowledge and experience, and then you create it into your own, right? And then you build on it. One thing Kane Womack has done, and he has utilized, is the resource of Nick Saban from a defensive standpoint. That, I think, will be very interesting to watch, how he utilizes the things he's taken away from Nick in this consistent, like, you almost want to say mentoring in a way, right? Of you, how do I take your mindset and your experience, implement it into my defense as a play caller, and utilize this to a level that meets the expectation or goes above the expectation of what was there, right?
And Jake, I love what you're saying there, because, again, with the guy sitting right down the hall, do you embrace him a little bit and still use what's in here?
Yeah.
Do you use some of that into the program so that you do bring it together and don't be, I say this all the time, Jason knows this, coaches, we have the biggest damn egos in the world. And,
yes.
and I was the only coach that's ever coached that didn't have an ego. But I will tell you, coaches have such huge egos that how does Kalen say, hey, let's embrace that? Or is it, you know what, we're not going to do that shit anymore. We're going to do it my way. Yeah. And I think there's got to be a balance in that. So I think you hit the nail on the head with that.
It's not letting my damn my comments go through. But I was going to say to Shawty, if you're going to win in the SEC, you need both. You need both. But you have both. It's freaking Oklahoma on offense, guys. That's all I'm going to say. It's Oklahoma. What are we talking about? And they will have a defense that's one of the top defenses in the SEC. That's the difference. Where they were soft before, that's the difference. Now they have a D line. They are nasty on the line, all across the D line. They're nasty everywhere on that defense.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Jackson Arnold. Sorry, I'm not.
No.
It's freaking Homa. They've got one of the best receiver rooms in the country. They've got a great running back room, one of the best in the country also. It's Oklahoma.
Well, and that's going to be huge too, because like that's Seth Luttrell. That's kind of like an MO for him, right? He's comes from like a running back background. Like, granted, he played fullback, but at the same time, right? Like you look at his pass and what his running backs were able to do, where he was calling offenses, but also he has taken these themes from like these spread and this RPO, but really like the spread offense under Leach, and did something similar over at North Carolina. Granted, you saw more of the run game there, but
you saw more of the run game at North Texas too.
Well, and that's because if you look at him and you watch his progression as a coach, he really starts to implement all these different aspects, and he does a good job of putting it together, right? Again, it goes back to saying, like, you learn from those and then you create your own system, right? You utilize that experience, you grow with it, and then create your own. And then I don't know, I forgot, did I not laugh at something, Kim? Did I miss something? I saw Kim Scott, you guys aren't funny. No sense of humor.
Not if y'all lean more on the running game, which I think y'all should do that. Help the quarterback, Jason. I was talking to people in the comments. Yeah. I mean, to me, you have to lead with defense, though. You have to lead with defense. And look, they could afford to step back by running the ball a little more anyway, to be a little bit more complimentary and not either go 3 and out in 10 seconds or score in 10 seconds, whatever. You need to run the clock. And they've got running backs to do it too, guys. Not just Gavin Sawchuk and the guys they're talking about. They got they got the number 1 running back in the class, Taylor Tatum. The guy's a dog. They're going to be good. And we do have a good sense of humor. We're always talking shit. We're having fun.
I don't, because I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, Kim got me. She reminded me where I was laughing at. I was gonna laugh out loud at that one. But no, man, that's the thing. Is like it's gonna be this year will be quite interesting with Oklahoma, right? And from the standpoint of their D line, like I do feel like that's where you're gonna see the success really implemented in this defense. I just in this, forgive me, you guys maybe correct me on this one. I don't know, does Oklahoma have the depth though at D line, right? To be consistent through the SEC.
They're
better than they've ever had.
They're 6-7 deep in the 2 interior spots. And on
better than they've ever
spots, they got about 6 guys, 7 guys that they can run through.
And I have to tell you, just from the outside looking in, I think that's where they've made the biggest leap in recruiting is down in the trenches on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
That's what kind of scares me about them.
Yeah,
Jackson also had almost 400 passing yards in that game, and it was his coordinator's gone, and they had a patchwork offensive line from the season. I mean, you can say what you want about that game, and it is what it is, but it's over with. He also threw for 400 yards almost and 2 touchdowns. You can say what you want about the turnovers. Quinn Ewers has turned the ball over. I seem to remember him at, Oklahoma State with a freaking 17-point lead at the end of the third quarter that they didn't hold on. Or no, I'm sorry, a 10-point lead that they ended up losing by 13. At the end of the third, it was 2 minutes left. They had a 10-point lead, and they lose by 13. And he had 4 or 5 picks too. Look, you can say what you want, but this kid This is year 2. And look, they're going to put him in positions where he doesn't have to be perfect. I don't want him to have to go win the Heisman. That's why you go get a defense. And I don't care what you think. The reason that Texas got into the playoff last year is because they had a defense.
Oh man, their defense, and honestly, their defense was good.
Hell, Quinn had 3 turnovers against Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, I'll say this too: is like Jackson Arnold this year. I think we will see. We're going to see a big progression, right? Because again, now that you have Seth has been there, right? Seth was there this last season as a analyst. Quality control, he was coaching, right? He's coaching quarterbacks. So he's already been there. Now he takes over the offense. He gets to put that time in. And Jackson's going to be in a position where he's going to be comfortable. Like he has the coach there in the place. He's going to be comfortable. He's going to do well. Again, it's not like Seth doesn't know what his strengths and weaknesses are. He's had them now for 2. This will be year 2, right? Like he has a good idea of what he's working with and what he worked on this offseason. So I think it's going to be very fun to watch Jackson Arnold in this offense. I think we're going to be able to really see him open up a little bit more, right? Obviously, it's hard to judge a freshman quarterback in a bowl game, like you guys have said in the comments. Like that's great and all, but that's the end of the season. Like that's one game. Awesome. But I do feel good about him going forward. And you can obviously see it in his confidence, even in SEC media days. It's not like he's sitting back and not up front and he's confident. He's ready to go. So I like it.
Yes, I was going to mention something earlier, Jason, about Coach Littrell. And, I think he's better suited in the position that he is now than he is as a head coach. I know at North Texas, I think he was 500 at best at North Texas over his time there. But I think that y'all have him exactly where he needs to be as a coach.
That coordinator?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, it's not like he doesn't. He did a great job as a coordinator at Carolina. He did a great job as a coordinator at Indiana and Arizona.
That's what I'm saying.
What got him the head coaching job? It's probably a job he shouldn't have taken.
Right. No, I think he's a great coordinator. I really do.
He likes to run the ball heavy too, and that's the thing that you want to do is establish a run game. And just like Charlie's saying, if you only have to win 2-3 games on your own, if you come out and you go down and you need to get a win, look, I believe that he can do it. They're going to put him in positions to be successful. And what we saw out of all the turnovers, what we saw in the spring game was, to me, promising because he was getting pressure. He had good pocket presence, and he threw a bunch of balls away. He didn't throw them into coverage. And he's playing against one of the top defenses in the SEC every day. They like to go ones-on-ones too. Good on good. Let's go. Let's get competitive.
Yeah, shit, I hate to watch teams that run the ball.
Oh, just the ground and pound?
Jason knows better. He knows I like to take it and stick the ball up their ass and break it off.
Sure does. Triple I is what he used to run, the triple I.
Dude,
I.
Shit, we used to run the wing T in high school, man. Yeah, we had every single one of us. I think we had the only guy we had that wasn't over 205 pounds at wing or halfback or the fullback position was this young little dude he was tiny, but he's squirrely. But yeah, man.
Trap sweet bootleg action, baby.
Yeah, a lot of wing T, man. That's what we ran. Yeah.
Yeah, Texas media days. Is that what you said, J-Day? Yeah, because everybody's talking about the horns down and then bitching about it.
Quit being a bunch of kitty cats.
Hey, I wanted to thank.
Suck it up, Texas.
I don't know if First Lady's still in here, but I want to thank her for becoming a new member. You guys can become members as well. by hitting that join button right next to the subscribe on the channel. So you can jump in there. It's as low as $2.99 a month. I mean, that's way less than a cup of coffee. But it definitely helps the program out a bunch. You can get into our Discord. We're actually, I've got Ryman Lemon's going to help us out with some of the adding to some of this Discord, because I just don't, first off, know that much about it, and I want it to be better, but we're going to work on some of that as well. Anyway, Ryman Lemon. Yeah, that's one way to help us. We've got our official show merchandise again, as I talked about. Texas is scared or fears Oklahoma hat, horns down hat, competitive depth, and the coach I don't give a shit shirt, which I saw that Neilio was talking about. He needs a t-shirt like that. You know where to go, Neilio, hofmedia.us/pod-merch. You can get
buy it for your wife, brother.
Of him coaching at Skyline and saying, I don't give a shit. I'm sure that came out of his mouth more.
And I want you to, when you see that picture, I want you to ask yourself, is he saying I don't give a shit, or is he saying I don't give a?
Yeah.
See if you can read my lips.
You already know. You already know.
Man, I gotta say, there's a guy, good gentleman. He goes by Piano Man, but he's always either on Coach Smook or jumps in a little bit on us over at Round Table Sports. But he just sent me a message. His grandson was born. So congratulations, Piano Man or Wendell. Happy for you, man. If you get a check in, dude, that's awesome, man. I love it. He's already decked out in his Crimson Tide uniform. So awesome. I love that, man. Super happy for him, man.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's always fun, man, when you get to add to the family. So big congratulations to him.
Good stuff. Right. Congrats. Yeah, listen, I mean, there's congratulations to him. We've got, again, it's hey man, it's always good times whenever you get to talk a little trash. And look, man, I mean, we're gonna talk all that smack, but the truth is, I expect it to be fun, and there's not a single Oklahoma fan that expects this thing to be easy, nor do Brent Venables and his team. They know what they're getting. Yeah. In fact, that's what we talked about this before when we've played his videos and stuff where he talks about, says it all the time. If you're not ready for this to be the hardest thing you've ever done, don't come here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's funny because it's crazy with Brent Venables too, is one thing I've noticed with him is when he talks and stuff, and then like this kind of mindset he's instilling, it reminds me of going back to training and like that working, because I was part of a specialized task force, right? Jason, a little bit of the background of it. But when I went in to law enforcement and continued to progress through my career doing that, I joined a task force, right? And so you go through there's some hardcore training. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
And that training,
that kind of stuff, bro.
that mindset, right? Like there's this mindset that you have to instill. You hear it a lot, embrace the suck. I've talked about it, like, right, when because I did some Krav Maga training, right, and that was what we trained in too for self-defense. But they also talk about it in that from a standpoint of saying, like, with the Krav Maga, right, is surprise, speed, and violence of action, right? And so you have this like hardcore mentality you go in through, but really what you're saying in that hardcore mentality is more so it's discipline, right? It's discipline. And discipline can be taught in so many different ways, but when you present it in a way of saying you're going to come in here, and if you want to be a part of this, you are going to learn discipline. And discipline, you instill that as a core value. Like Saban did it. Saban made that a foundational element at Alabama. Okay, was discipline, right? And that was.
If it was easy, everybody'd do it.
100. But if you can get into like the right mindset as a coach to be able to, because is one thing to have discipline as an individual, but to present discipline to a group of individuals who accept it and buy into it, that can be very difficult to do. Like, volunteer to do it. Oh man, that's where it's tough, right? And I love it, man, because I think BV, that's something he does really, really well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Jake, you hit the nail on the head on that, because there's a fine line when you are trying to instill discipline. There's a fine line if the guys are going to accept it and they'll run through a brick wall for you, or if they're going to go the other way and say, F you, dude, I ain't doing that shit.
Yeah.
But how do you get them to buy into that? How do you communicate it to them that, you know, this is so critical and important for success? And some guys can get them over onto the side of buying in, and some guys can't get them there. I know a Texas A&M coach that no longer works there that couldn't get them there.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, there's the guys that are the great coaches have great discipline, but can do it and still have the love of their players.
Yeah.
And the buy-in.
That's huge to have that, because there's nothing like wanting to go all out for not yourself, right? Like go all out for somebody else, for your brothers around you, for your coach. At the same time, you know that coach is going to kick your ass like to the moon and back, but you are willing to accept it, embrace the suck, as we would call it, right?
The suck.
And go and just go hard. Like go hard, because you want to give that your all to that guy every single moment you get the opportunity.
And you don't want to disappoint them.
100.
You know,
that's what it's all about.
And you may hate the SOB at the end of the day, but you don't. The one thing you don't want to do is disappoint them. And when you can get that instilled in your program, you're going to win a lot of damn football games. And I can guarantee you, BV fits that mold.
For sure. Like that, every time he talks, that's all I hear is I see this guy. Like now I know why these guys, and it's not just him, right? There's other factors, but the foundation is being built around discipline, around his core pillars, right? Which is, again, family. They have a good family, the soul, right? I love that. Man, I'm all about that, dude. Like I have a lot of love for the what BV and the way he's going about it, because I think, man, there's nothing like instilling a little bit of faith, some family, and some hardcore kick ass all in one, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, you got to say that is something you really could be like, damn, like I could believe in that, right?
You can buy into that,
100. You know, so I love it. I just think what he's done. How could you? It could just be the media wanting to get the attention of views, whatever it is. But how could you, from a standpoint, ever look at the program and see what's being happening and not have that feeling and then say, man, they're just, I don't know if they're ready. Whoa, what?
And I agree with you. BV is going to be, guys, he's going to be one of the best coaches to ever come through Oklahoma football. He's going to be in there with the names that everybody already knows.
Above average. He was a freshman All-American.
He's going to be big time, guys. I'm telling you. And you know, I sat in my office many a times and had many conversations with BV and Poole. I picked his brain a ton about some of the very stuff that we're talking about. And used
talked
it
to him longer than anybody else by himself at Big 12 Media Days last year.
Well, and you know, we go way back. I mean, he recruited some of my kids, and some of my kids went and played there. But we would have some in-depth conversations about our programs and his beliefs and my beliefs, and most match, to be honest with you. Very few didn't match. But then we would get into the conversations about, well, you know what? Our philosophies don't match here. Let's talk about why we believe this and why you believe this
Defensive coaches
and I
love
believe
that
this.
defense, don't they?
Oh, love it, man. Love it. And I'm telling you, I'm a BB fan through and through and through. I love him. I'm glad Oklahoma has him. I wish Notre Dame would hire him. No, I'm kidding about that.
I would say that Freeman's pretty similar, though. You know, they're kind of cut from the same cloth.
I would agree. I would agree. And
Real
I
quick, I
think
wanted to show everybody that shirt that we were talking about. Here's your merch here on Hall of Fame, college football, pod merch. Make sure you get in there and check that stuff out. There's Coach's shirt right up front, right to the right of that, and a little low. If you see that one, got Texas, Fears Oklahoma.
And it says, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at him, though, man. He's got that scowl on his face and everything. That's exactly what he was saying at that time. Get it done.
Oh, the good old days, man.
The good old days. Always the good old days, man. No doubt about it. So, yeah, make sure you guys get over there, hofmedia.us/pod-merch. There's a lot of different stuff out over there, a lot of different styles. Continue to tell me more stuff that you want. We'll get more stuff out there. But
hey, Jason, if they'll buy one of those shirts, they can send it to me. I'll autograph it and send it back to them.
Yeah, man. Woo! I love that.
That's a freaking amazing deal. And I tell you what, we will get. Hey, I said this earlier the other day or yesterday morning. We're trying to get to 4,000. We hit 3,600 over the weekend.
Yeah.
We need 400 more. We get 400 more. We get to 4,000. I'm going to give away 5 T-shirts. We're going to give away 5 T-shirts.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to like the merch there, Benji. It's not for you. You know how it goes.
Man, I love it.
Yeah.
Benji, we made it just for you.
I'm going to tell you, when I met Coach, you think he's intense now? When I met Coach, it was basically 20 years ago. He was intense as shit then. Little younger than I am right now when I met you 20 years ago.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm. Still love you too, Benji.
Yeah.
Is that shipping free?
I will pay for the shipping.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it, man.
We'll take care of that for sure. Look, and I think that's what, but the point I was trying to, and I'm not just going to sit here and talk shit. What I would tell you is they were on brand today. I loved hearing what they had to say. And it came in different forms and fashions, but they all said the same thing. We respect it, but the Venables said it, and I'll put it up here again. It was probably the best thing I thought he said, but he said, hold on, let me get it here. Where he was saying, look, this is like a marriage of elite and elite. The SEC's elite. It's the best conference in the country. These are elite programs coming in. Oklahoma takes a backseat to nobody, though. He said it. They all said it. Your job. I mean, if you're Oklahoma, that better be your freaking. That better be what it is.
Well, he's just telling them, guys. He's just telling them. You know what? Y'all are great conference, great teams. Get your shit ready because here we come.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying in a kind way.
Yeah, and look here.
Oklahoma, isn't intimidated as a football program. We're running towards the SEC. I think that goes without saying. We've looked forward for the last several years for this partnership to be a part of an amazing conference, the best conference in college football.
And then, oops, let me do another one.
Coach that has stood on that stage so far has been asked about Texas or Oklahoma, and what their impact is going to be on the league. What do you think that says about Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC?
Well, again, I think it's a partnership of elite with elite. And, again, two programs in the history of college football take a backseat to nobody. The SEC doesn't take a backseat to anybody. From our leadership to the quality of the teams, and really it's every single athletic team on those campuses. It's unmatched, and so we both have programs that have had elite level success with all of our athletic programs, certainly football included, and I just think it fortifies what was already the strongest conference in all of college football.
Coach will stay on the same side in the same row over here on the right.
I mean, he said the right things. Nobody's coming in being disrespectful,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Get your ass
expect
ready.
Hey, yeah. Say what you always talk about again. What little ones do and big ones.
Little ones bunch up, big ones line up, because we're going to kick your ass.
I love that, dude. It's crazy too, is like when you with him, it's fun. I don't know what it is about him, man, but when you watch him like talk, he definitely has the, how do you say it? He has that it factor. He's very much like Saban when he presents himself in the way he presents the information. Like Nick does the same thing.
Yeah.
Like Nick is very like kind of straight to the point. He has the intensity about him. It's like brimming on edge. Like if you say the wrong thing to Nick, he's gonna tell you to get the F out of his meeting or whatever. Even he's gonna tell the media like you're a bunch of idiots. You know what I'm saying? But like BV, like you can almost feel like the intensity when he talks. I think that is such a key aspect in presenting yourself in like because your teams, a lot of teams, and Coach, you could speak to this too. A lot of teams will take on a portion of the identity of the coach, right? Yeah. So when you get there, like Kalen DeBoer, one of the things I love about Kalen DeBoer, what you'll see is his poise, right? He has very good poise throughout tight games. You never see him overly emotional or not emotional enough. He's just kind of like perfect poise.
Yeah.
BV has this intensity, and I felt that today when Billy Bowman was talking. Did you guys notice that too? When Billy Bowman was like kind of talking about his from the standpoint of like if he was ready, right? Or you had 3 picks last year. What are you going to do this year? And he's just like, I'm going to get more. That's it. You just knew this dude was like ready to go out there and play right now. You're like, okay, damn, these guys are ready. Like they all have this mindset. I like it. Like, do they all fall in line, right? And so I love it, man. I just think it's gonna fit really well. That's why I think I also have a very strong opinion in what I'm watching with Sarkisian. Like, what is Sarkisian's identity going to be for his teams? Because they seem to change in a way, right? Every year it seems to change a little bit. And so what's his going to be?
You ask about, or you said that they're taking on the identity of their coach. And here's a good example of that right here.
I'm extremely confident in this team. I think I can speak for everybody on the team that we're all super amped up to go out and play this SEC schedule. It's a tough one for sure, but we love the challenge. We want the challenge, and we wouldn't want it any other way.
On the aisle here. Jay Smith, Locked On Sooners. Jackson, you spent some time at the Madden Academy not too long ago and got to enjoy some time with some of the elite quarterbacks in college football, and some of them from the SEC. Can you tell us about some of the things you learned from there that's going to help prepare you for this coming season?
Mm-hmm. Good job, Jay.
Honestly, the Manning Passing Academy for us was just a place for us to meet each other and get around each other and hang around. Maybe some dudes that they know each other already, and it's for them to hang out with each other. There wasn't a lot of trash talking going on. There wasn't a lot of ball talk going on. Hang out with each other and speaking on that opportunity. It was great to meet those guys and just seeing how they operate. But like you said, competing against them in some of our challenges we had at night, just throwing with them in competitions. It was good to see, how I stacked up against other college QBs.
Did y'all not hear him? Y'all can't hear him?
No, we can hear him.
I'm going to turn it up a little bit.
Maybe they.
This
I
one
don't
is
know if
about-
they can.
I heard fine, and I'm
Okay.
deaf.
Me too.
Left side fourth row and then pass it to the aisle.
Trevor Denton, Way 31. Jackson, feels like all week we've heard about Auburn as one of the toughest places to play in the nation. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what Carson Beck told you about what Jordan-Hare is like as a place to play in?
Yeah, he was short but sweet. He thought the place was cursed, man. I think their game was like a one touchdown game. He said it could have gone either way, but he said that place is extremely hard to play in. But again, we love the challenge. We want the challenge.
Right side on the aisle.
Hi, Jackson, Aiden, Tyler, Are you Nightly, Norman. You're now the starting quarterback at Oklahoma, a program that's rich with tradition at the quarterback position, a lot of Heisman Trophy winners, and that kind of sets the expectation for that position at Oklahoma. So how do you kind of just handle that pressure?
For me, first thing is to stay off social media. That blocks out a lot of pressure, and two, just honestly, just kind of ignore it too. Just block out the pressure. I feel like there's only pressure if you bring that pressure onto yourself. So just kind of staying calm and collected, and staying off social media has been the biggest way for me to deal with that pressure.
All right. We'll go back to some more of that, but then you had also, let's see what BV had to say here.
But you just like you said, Jake, you hear BV in those answers.
100%. Like it's all about embracing the challenge, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that is that mindset that he's brought to the table, saying every day when you come to practice, when you guys step on campus, when you decide to sign up and put your name in ink as an Oklahoma Sooner, right? You will be challenged.
Yeah.
You will be challenged, and you will learn to love it. To be honest with you, as soon as you learn, and that's such a man, what a lesson to be taught early on. Like for the programs that are good, one thing you find consistent with a lot of these guys and with a lot of programs that have success, and Coach, you've built these programs, so but as soon as the kids or your team changes the mindset from, man, this is going to be a grind, to, man, I can't wait to grind again, embrace the adversity, embrace it.
Yeah.
That the whole demeanor, the whole shift of that mindset changes. And now you started to create the formula for winners, to be honest.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
All right, I got
go
one more to pop up here.
Having coached in 8 national championships and several conference championships, and I've told players this, we talk about it as a family, there's not more intensity and hate in the heart, because a lot of times in those national championship games, you got a lot of corporate visitors. They're just, happy to be here. Well, there ain't nobody just happy to be here unless you win. In the stadium is real. You can cut it with a knife. The intensity, the passion, the will to win, the players, the coaches, the fans. It's a very real thing.
Thanks, Brent.
I love it. I love it.
Man.
Hey, 100% truth, baby.
Mm-hmm. Like,
you know what? You know what? My heart's breaking right now, Jason. I so wish we could have been there for media days.
Yeah, me too, man. They shut us out of it this year. We'll get there next year. I think we're definitely ramping this thing up, and it's a new company as far as they're concerned, but we're definitely going to be ramping it up. And I think there's a lot of that'll have to do with sponsors and things like that next year. But hey, if anybody would like to sponsor the program, please step forward and do so. We'd love to do that. We're going to do some things this year in the SEC and our coverage stuff that's going to get us. We're taking another steps. This is what we're here for, right?
I love it.
On my
Shoot, you guys go. I'm going to go.
There we go, baby.
Woo, man! Bring that energy
I'm
in
in,
here,
brother.
Man!
I tell you what, and I got to tell you, Jake, we had a great time at Big 12 Media Days last year, and it was so fun to get to see all all those people, and I'd love to do the same thing again with the SEC and get to visit with all those guys and the coaches, and it'd be incredible. It's a great experience. Well, you know what, and I got to tell you, what was interesting for me was coming from the coaching side of the equation to more of, I guess, the media side of the equation. And wow, because, you know, and I always thought a lot of the media were a pain in the ass. I had very few. I had a handful that I could count on one hand, Jason being one of those guys that I felt shot straight with you. You know, you could tell them the truth, and they weren't going to distort it. And so I just, it was interesting though, coming from the coaching to the media side of the equation, but it's a great time.
Coach did a great job as a media side deal, though. I mean, he was getting off questions and he didn't mind asking them, and you know, and we were trying to get 2 questions in, so I'd send him with a question. I said, whoever they call, make sure, you know, we're going to ask these two. One of these.
We both got them in, though.
Yeah, we did.
Dude, that's awesome. It would be fun to be there just to hear the different things, but also get to interact, right, and get to talk. You know,
he got Gundy all greased up, all loud, pissed off.
I love it.
It was pretty fun.
Woo! That's always a good time right there.
I'm gonna do Danny Stutsman real quick here too.
Awesome.
Almost 24/7. Danny, going back to the Texas game last year, Coach Venables talked about building this program off of toughness, playing with the physical edge. Not just the year-over-year result, but the way you guys won the Texas game, forcing turnovers, had the big goal line stand. How much for you guys did that validate that you're headed in the right direction, you know, with this program, building it in the way, the kind of that mold Coach Venables wants to build it?
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at a game like that, you know, you get a sense of, like you said, validation. It's huge. You know, when you're able to perform the biggest of stages, you know, come out there, especially after 2 years ago, what happened on that field, you know, it's painful. And you have to use that pain, use that anger, use how you felt that game as motivation. You know, and to this day, you know, we have a lot of guys that haven't experienced that. And so us older guys have to be able to give out that motivation, you know, to explain, look, it's not like that every single time. Winning's hard, especially where we're going, it's even more difficult. And so every single day the leaders have to kind of, you know, do whatever they can to motivate and give that sense of understanding.
2 final questions in the back over here, then right up front.
Brig Bates, KTE out of Texoma. Danny, what does year 3 look like under, you know, the Brent Venables system, regardless of the conference change?
Yeah. So, you know, year 1 was learning it, you know, kind of getting the general understanding, finding, you know, what I need to do. Year 2 was kind of more so understanding, you know, having a deeper sense of confidence, finding myself. You know, year 3 is more so I've been teaching it, you know, having the young guys come in there, running meetings, you know, being a little mini defensive coordinator. You know, I want it to all go through me. I want to be the kind of the main gate. You know, everything that Coach Venables taught me, and Coach Alley as well. You know, he's been a great addition for myself, and it's helped me play, you know, faster than I ever have before. You know, having a sense of understanding, play with a sense of anticipation, so you're one step ahead of everyone else.
Final question.
The OU Texas rivalry is being in the SEC is new. How would you explain that to just a normal SEC fan that kind of looks at it as just another game to a lot of people?
I have a Longhorn tattooed on my body. It's like, it means that much to me. Like, you go to bed thinking about like how big of a deal it is. You look at every single person in the state of Oklahoma, every single person in the state of Texas, and you know how much it means to them. You know, that's one game in the season once a year that these 2 states can compete against each other in the biggest sport in the United States. And it's going to go on. It went on long before me. It's going to go on long after me. I get a little piece of that shine to prove myself and to prove my state right.
Great answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your father knows about saving money. Everything I'm wearing,
I like it. Yeah, Danny's
but it's flipped upside down.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't imagine it be any other way, but
it's flipped upside down, and it says Oklahoma only fears God, and Texas fears Oklahoma.
Yeah,
like he said, that's an iconic moment that happened before the Red River game last year. It'll never be forgotten when they had that goal line stand and played the way that they did.
Well, dude, like, and I love how he also though talked about the aspect of like leading, being a leader, but using kind of being that guy that the coaches can rely on, right? Being in this system, and being like, all right, man. Yeah, I saw Jimmy's comment. Being in that system, you know, where he's going, okay, like I understand it, and I can be that guy they can rely on that presents this information the correct way. So we have that mindset and we're ready on the field, right? Because that's the one thing I think as a leader, you look at from these teams and where these teams are that I feel real confident about, right? From a leadership standpoint. And you say, okay, how is it, who do I have on the field that I rely on to not only give across the information, but give across the right attitude and mindset that people want to, that these other players on the field want to connect with. And they also buy into at those moments, because during the game, the coach is on the sidelines, right? Like you're on the sidelines. During the guys on the field then have to rely also on the energy given from their team captains, from the leaders, from themselves in the huddle to be synchronized and to work as one and to have the correct mindset. So you have to appoint those right guys in your locker room. I think Danny is that right guy on defense, you know, between him and Billy Bowman. I think you're definitely going to see that.
Yeah, and this is Billy Bowman. That's he's talking a little bit about the SEC move as well. And then this will be our last video here.
You know, just things like that. Yeah.
You want to go to the SEC, or you care about staying Big 12? What about going to the SEC?
At first, you know, I really had no opinion on it, but going to the SEC now, I feel like it's great. You know, it's gonna be great to experience different type of football, different teams, different venues, all types of things like that. So it's amazing.
Different types. What type? You referring to different types of football?
I'm just saying, you know, more of a different styles of how people play. Yes.
What about the exposure? Is there better exposure, you think?
I mean, y'all are the exposure. So I can't tell you if it's better exposure or not. Y'all got to be there. Y'all make the exposure.
I mean, Big 12 is big, and OU obviously has a big brand, but do you think it even elevates it more, and even the competitive level with all the NFL players it sends?
Yes. I totally get where you're coming from. Yes. I truly do think it brings more lights, it brings more cameras, more attention. But by us going to the SEC along with Texas, you know, that's a lot of exposure right there. So yes, it does bring more.
Thanks for taking a bad question and running with it.
Who are some of the quarterbacks?
Jackson Arnold have a rivalry being from Denton Guyer and Denton Ryan?
Nah, we don't. You know, Peyton Bowman went there too. So I tell Peyton Bowman all the time, I run Denton, because last time I was in high school, Denton Ryan, we beat the Denton Guyer. So yeah.
Billy, who are some of the quarterbacks in the SEC that you consider dangerous?
A lot of them, you know, the number 8 from Tennessee. I'm not sure exactly how to say his name, but he's good. You know, Jackson Dart's good. We got Garrett Nussmeier at LSU, Jalen Milroe, Alabama. You know, the Thorne, quarterback at Auburn, first away game. Every game's going to be a test. We can't take nobody lightly.
When you decided to come back for the season, what did you envision for yourself?
To go to a championship, whether that's a conference championship, college football playoffs, or even the national championship. That's what I'm here for.
Coach Venables said that you were one of the greatest leaders of this class. What is your leadership style in the locker room? How do you assess situations when you're in that leadership role?
Most importantly, I lead by example. You know, I pride myself on doing the right things, you know, being the first guy in everything I do. So when those things, when other people see those things, and from a guy who necessarily, I don't talk as much, but when I talk, I have a point and I'm trying to get it across, you take it seriously. So just having a different type of attitude, mindset, and leading by example is how I like to lead.
I like it.
He's an impressive kid, man. He's an impressive kid.
Oh, I think you're on mute, Coach.
You're muted.
I was going to say I had one word for him, but you already beat me to it. That's impressive. Impressive. No doubt. Very impressive.
Yeah. And earlier he said that it was soft for Texas to be, with the horns down thing. It's still coming up all day. And that's where I was saying, I think the difference in what we are seeing, we saw them, it was on brand. And Texas, everybody wants to talk about the horns down stuff. And then you get Texas saying, we don't care, but they throw a fit about it. A lot of them do. They're creators. Jeff Ketchum, he made sure to tweet about it, about how one of the other media members walked up and threw the horns down at him. I said, you cried, didn't you, Ketch? You cried.
Jason, can you make us a T-shirt like this?
A brand has finally returned. Your brand.
The shocker? You want me to make
man.
Shocker? Yeah. To read, is that a read between the lines?
Man, yeah, there you go. That's
yeah,
I think with
here's what it is.
The entirety of these things is the thing.
It's read between the horns.
There you go. I like it. Yeah, I like we didn't play the whole video, obviously, but it said, you didn't play the part where he said he'll have more pick sixes this year. He had 3 last year. If he does more than that, that's a good sign. They had the second most. They had the most interceptions per game last year, and they had the second most in the country overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I mean, they do though. Their secondary is supposed to be strong, right? So, and I think it does start like you have that leader in each area of the field is key, and obviously their strength down the middle is pretty phenomenal. I mean, that's one thing I do like about their defense is especially when you get demonic, right? But you got Billy Bowman. You look at demonic Williams, and then you look at
Dominic Williams. Uh-huh.
Yep, and then you got Billy Bowman back there. So you look really strong down the middle. I feel like that defense should be ready for what they face. Again, the biggest thing it's going to come down to is staying healthy. They have a grind for their season. That's going to be a key. I mean, it's a key for just about every team. But as far as the horns down thing, I think it's funny. Ben, I'm sure you think the same thing, dude. Like it's funny that some people just get so butthurt over that, dude. You're like, come on, dude. Like there's so many different things people say and do, and it's just funny. It's just a good time. Like there's no reason to actually, who cares? In the end of the day, it's not like it's this like national symbol. It's not like you're setting a flag on fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. So yeah, it is what it is.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it makes me laugh a little bit, but yeah, like going into it though. But again, going back to this is we see where the identity, where the personality of this team has really mimicked what these coaches, I guess, really what Brent Venables wanted to do, and now we're going to see it in year 3. It's really coming together. Like with Texas entering, this will be the question, and maybe Ben, you're in the chat, you can help with this because this is an honest question, and I know Sarkisian, but I really want to know what their personality or what they're going to be. What's the identity of Texas? You know what I mean? Like I know where other teams could ask the same thing, but with Texas entering, it feels like Venables has done a good job of setting them up and having the foundation to continue to build on going into the SEC as far as the mindset and what are these core principles of the program that they're going to continue to roll with that will help them find success. Now, I want to know from a Texas standpoint, one thing I guess I haven't seen and what I want to see is like, okay, what is Texas? What are they going to stand on? Like what is going to be their key to success every season as they roll through, and like what their teams are going to be about. Granted, teams change year to year. I get that. But for the most part, you got to have foundational core values,
Jake, I can answer part of your question as far as what is Texas going to stand on? They're
Mhm.
going to stand. They're going to stand on Bevo's shit.
The brand has finally returned. Your brand.
That got me laughing, dude. I thought you'd give me some real serious like answer there, and I'm like dug in, like, oh shit, he's gonna give me something good, man. Nope, he's just standing in a pile of shit. All right, I like it.
Bevo shit.
You don't give a Bevo
Oh,
shit.
dude. No, I love that, man. That makes me laugh, dude.
Oh.
You know, it's funny. It was like you look back in the day when I was a kid. My grandpa owned a cattle ranch. We used to run out there barefooted and like smash, like run in the piles of shit out there, thinking they're like mud pies because that's what everyone would call them. No, they're not fucking mud pies. They're full on giant piles of shit. If you come up, my mom be like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" You know, me and my brother and shit up to our fucking kneecaps. It's terrible.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Where we get our shrooms, he says.
I like it.
But
I like it.
but you know how soft of a mentality.
Yeah, and you can't say that they don't care about it
nation.
because Rodney Terry flipped the fuck out when UCF was in town and did it.
Oh, it drives them crazy. And it's
Crazy.
you know, come on, guys. You don't think other programs get hit with all kinds of shit too, literally?
Yeah.
And something like that bothers you? Jeez Louise.
Yeah, and even
but again, I think that's I truly believe that's part of the Sarkeesian culture.
Mm.
Well,
Because
that came from Mac.
Man, Coach, that you threw one out there right there, dude. That's a woo.
Yeah, I mean Sarkeesian culture.
Look at this. Though. I mean, it's right there in front of you. Sam Ellinger, same thing. We know that the last coach was that way. We heard Rodney act like that. He was freaking out on the UCF kids on the court after they got beat at home.
Yeah. No, I remember that. He was getting pissed off.
Their rich culture, their rich tradition.
Their rich tradition, yeah.
Where in the hell is
Not
that
really
rich
after
tradition?
World War II. Not so much after World War II, you know?
Shit.
Yeah. But that's a huge question of mine, though. Like like what are they going to be about? Because that I think with Sarkeesian, even at Washington when he was last the head coach, right? He didn't really have an identity. There was nothing, right? Like, I mean, yeah, from a standpoint of offensively, offensive mentality, right, Ben? Like that's always kind of been his thing. But I'm saying, like, what is their foundational, like, core values? Like, what are they about? And I don't know if from Steve's standpoint, like, if he's really identified that yet as a head coach.
Right.
And I'm not trying to say that to throw shade at Texas or throw shade at Steve, you know what I'm saying? But I just think, like, man, what is it? Like, we see some of these coaches, we find the ones that are really successful. They have these core values that they stick with in their program, and they really are taken over and accepted by the team, and then they find the success and build upon those, right? I don't know if Sarkeesian has kind of even really, like, identified those to the depth, the level of depth that you need, right? It just is, that's the part that I wonder, because those are those things that you hold on to and help you in those tight games. They help you through adversity. They help you in those moments that you're going to need, especially in the SEC, man, because these games, this shit is real every Saturday. It doesn't matter who you play, man. It's not, you don't get a walk in the park.
No.
And don't get me wrong. I think Sark's done a great job since when Mac was there. He's really helped them come back. It's just a matter of, okay, to take that next step, what is it going to be? Like, where is the
But none of those
juice
guys, if you think about this, though, all those kids except for Quinn were not really recruited by Sark. They were already there. Most of them were already there.
Well, Sarkisian,
Xavier Worthy and freaking Jatavion Sanders, Brooks. He had Bijan and Roshan before that. You know, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Banks wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Banks wasn't there.
And again, what I continue to say about UT and Sark, let me see it.
I'll give you this part. I'm not saying
year one,
drinking.
Let me see it in year 2. Let me see it year 3. You prove up 2 or 3 years, and you know what? You will prove me wrong. But at this point, I still don't think Sarkisian is a consistent winner. And
he got the name 7-win Sark for a reason, Coach. He got the name 7-win Sark for a reason.
And I'm going to go back to what Jake said earlier, is that, you know, they haven't put it back to back, and I just don't buy in yet into the Sark bullshit. I need consistency. Show me you can win more than 1 year.
Yeah, and this is not what we're talking about, Jimmy Lee. I've said this 1,000 times. I don't let people talk about him in his drinking issues because he beat those issues. That's you know, I give him.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Absolutely. I'll drink to that.
Absolutely.
Shit. God. Oh my goodness. Hey, I like it. Catch me on Friday night. But here's I wonder though if that's something that again for Sarkisian he could use from a beneficial standpoint in going forward. And honestly, what is the expectation of the fans too? Right? From the fans, what do you expect your program? Like if you're a true Texas fan, and we've seen some hardcore fans, you know, I pissed a few off at one point. And Ben wasn't one of them because he doesn't get butthurt, which I like Ben.
Also, yeah, Ben's chill about it, but a lot of them
no, a lot of them.
Ben's
what is your expectation?
Sensitive.
Right? What is the fans deep down? What are you satisfied, or do you feel like there needs to be something more? Right?
Yeah, tell us your thoughts on that, Ben.
Yeah, because I would like to know from a standpoint.
He said that he felt like he's done a good job so far.
Yeah, 100%, and he has. But again, like, what is he? What are those things that he'll stand on going into the SEC? Because you're going to need that. And I hate to say it like this, but almost like you need that backbone, right? To because when you say you don't have a backbone, you're really throwing a lot of shit at somebody. But the truth is that backbone though should be your core values, should be what your team stands on, what you guys believe in, what everyone buys into, like kind of like Colorado and Prime, right? Like we don't know what they don't. Where's the backbone there? Because nobody really knows what doesn't feel like they really have a foundational core.
College football playoff, and I think I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time believing it, but I understand here's the thing. And we said this last year, coming off of Big 12 Media Days. Coach and I both said at the thing, I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
that was a lot more stand up than I expected Sark to be.
We did say that.
This is my football team. It looks, sounds, smells like my team, and and their expectation is to go win a conference championship. It's damn sight different than what you hear from Lincoln Riley.
Right.
I'll give him that.
You know what? I do want to respond to this deal here from Ben G. We don't expect an undefeated season. Even if we have 2 losses, we expect a college football playoff berth.
Depends on how many teams.
I don't agree with you on the second part of that question because your schedule sucks ass.
It would depend on who those 2 losses are to.
Exactly, most definitely, and it's also going to depend on loss 3 and 4. But I won't even get to that. We'll just say it's 2 losses, and so with those 2 losses, who are they to? And again,
if you beat everybody but
with the
Georgia and
schedule,
Oklahoma,
with
then
the
you could
schedule
probably
you
still get
have,
in.
with the schedule you have, shit,
Well, that
you
would have
better
meant that
get
they
in.
beat A&M. That would have meant that they beat A&M. It would have mean that they have beaten Michigan.
I tell you what, Ben G, I'm gonna make you a hell of a deal here. Excluding your whole schedule.
Wins and losses are not created equal. But if you lose to just Georgia and Oklahoma,
I'm going to make Ben G a hell of a deal here. Okay, excluding the entire schedule. If Texas beats Texas A&M, I'll send you $100 bill. And if A&M beats Texas, you send me $100 bill. How about that? Sounds like a hell of a deal for Bevo and the Longhorns.
Bevo. Yeah, what a hell of a name.
it would depend on
And I hope you're not standing in the shit at the end of the day.
Yeah, don't do what I did when I was 8 years old. Come on now.
We appreciate you coming in, my friend. Thanks a lot.
100%, man. Hey, get that bet with Notre Dame.
Can you get that bet? Another Trojan fight wants to know if he can
Yeah, you get that bet.
I promise you that he'll take that bet.
Absolutely, my brother. Absolutely.
I like it, man.
Because we're going to kick the fuck out of you guys.
Oh, yes. Man,
just like last year.
Oh,
you know, hell, last year you had the Heisman Trophy winner and got your ass thumped like a redheaded stepchild.
He's not betting
actually, like a little bitch.
You want to bet on the OUUT game? He said he's not betting on the Aggie game.
Yeah, like that's funny, man. I like that. That's good stuff right there.
I'll bet on the Texas OU game. Yeah, I'll take OU. You got Texas for 100.
I've already got some bets on that are getting up there are kind of high. I think I'm going to stick here for now, but we'll see. We'll see what it looks
like.
Night
Chicken.
Before the Night Chicken.
Appreciate
Thanks
you,
for coming in, man. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you, brother.
Hey, Chicken.
Talk
Love
to you soon,
brother.
Yeah, I always enjoy chicken, man.
They would be 2-2 against Georgia, Michigan, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. Okay, but then but it would still depend on who were the 2. I mean, yeah, 2-2 against them, but how many teams are 10-2 though at the end of the year in the SEC? I heard people in here saying earlier 5 or 6. I don't know that that's the case, but you could have a bunch of 10-2s and 9-3s. If Oklahoma goes 10-2, they're definitely in. But if they went 9-3, I think they're going to be having a good shot at it, depending on how many there are. I think it depends though. If Missouri goes 10-2, but those 2 wins don't include wins over Oklahoma and Alabama, I don't know that they give you shit. But it just depends though. Because it's just hard to, but I think anyway, it would be borderline for either, but it would depend on how many other teams. I think more times than not, they're going to want to put Texas in the dance if they have a record like that. If they get double-digit wins, they want them in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's, again,
I don't care that Notre Dame's schedule's kind of whack other than, 3 or 4 games. They want Notre Dame in that thing too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you kidding me? It's funny you bring that up, Jason, because that's the money game right there, right? Like if we get all these teams who are equal in record, like whose fan base is real and whose isn't, because that's where that money people are going to spend the money for those who they love, right?
The ratings are through the roof.
Through the roof. I think a lot more teams
11-3 would have get Notre Dame in. It won't.
No.
But 10-2 will. 11-1 gets them the 5 seed without a doubt.
Yeah. And that's where we want to be.
Yeah, that's that 5 seed's the money seed, right?
Yeah. There's no doubt.
We talked about that the other morning, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was built for Notre Dame. That was the deal that Schwarbick and the commissioner from the SEC came up with.
Yeah.
Sankey, Greg Sankey. They built that thing. But the 5 seed is the seed to be because you're going to get the 12, which is almost always going to be
like your
who is G5 it? School, Liberty,
G5,
Liberty,
G5, yeah.
somebody like that, a team you should beat. A team you should beat. And then you still don't get the number one, the SEC, or more than likely that you're going to get in the next round. So you'll end up probably playing the 3. You'll play the 4 in the next round, which means it's going to be the ACC/Big 12 champion, which if you're 11-1, you should probably beat that team.
Yep.
Or at least you don't have any excuses. So you have an easier road to the semifinals than would anybody else not getting a bye, I should say. It's almost like getting a bye because that G6, I don't like the group of 5s still being in it. Somebody said it today. It'd be better if they were actually playing the 12 best teams in the playoff, and I agree.
Oh, for sure.
I think the group
that messes with your that messes with your access, quote unquote.
Yeah, I think the group of 5 teams should actually be playing in the Texas 6A league.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? To be honest, though, like
I bet you the group of 5 wouldn't beat the FCS champions. They wouldn't.
The
Almost
FCS
never.
champions typically are what? North Dakota, right?
Yeah.
The Bison.
Yeah.
And they're like the real deal.
They're the real deal.
Like
Montana
had a good year. Yeah.
They're always good.
Montana's always good. Yeah. Well, shit. It's funny is remember who destroyed NDSU's longtime record? You know who that was?
Who?
That was Kalen DeBoer.
Oh, was it really?
It was Kalen DeBoer who beat that record, man, with the Sioux Falls. Yeah, when they played them. Yeah. Pretty crazy, man. But yeah, it's fun. Colorado has
State
NDSU.
was one of those teams. Central Michigan's been one of those teams that does really well when they were in the FCS. Help. Lance Leipold won like 7 of them.
Oh yeah, dude. Lance was killing it. I mean, that's why he was so. It's interesting. I'm surprised. Well, USC grabbed Matt Entz, who's NDSU's like winning coach.
They did
because that's what Jen Cohen does.
Yeah, look, if Lincoln's gonna get better on defense in Southern Cal, it's gonna be because of who he got in there. Because not only did they get Danson Lynn, but Entz, he's that defensive guy, and he's the assistant head coach. And I mean, they know he's good.
Yeah, well,
I think they have a depth issue, and I think that if you don't go out there and do the CFB professor is predicting, or his model is predicting them to go 11-1, 12-0. Well, I don't get it, and it's not always right, but it's not an FBS school; it's still FCS. He moved up, the head coach from there.
Yeah, head coach.
Yeah.
He's over there working with Lincoln Riley now. But yeah, Jen Cohen was smart. That was a smart move on her part. She's done a great job getting coaches. It's an actual. I'll show you. That'll be up tomorrow. I'll have that one up tomorrow. That's the first one I'm gonna roll. It's 2 parts of it, but with the college football, Matt McClintock. You can go and look at, if you get on Patreon, it's like, I think it's like $2 a month but I'm going to tell you this. He's the most accurate. Their model is the most accurate in the country. It's more accurate than FPI. They've never missed a top 4 in the playoff when they project that. They hit on all projections of games, 73 to 76% per year on every game that they project. That's, let me tell you something. As a gambler, if you could go 50%, you make shit tons of money. 76% is a lot. It's unbelievable. And it's the most accurate in the country. But even he said that he didn't think they were going to go 11-1, 12-0. No, he thinks they're going to go 9-3. And I can see 9-3. And I think 9-3 is probably still a pretty damn good year in view of the fact of you've got LSU, Michigan on the road, Penn State at home, and Notre Dame at home. Now, Notre Dame does have a good – I mean, look, if they beat Texas A&M, they don't go on the road again for a really good game until the end of the year.
Guys, at one point, we have 8 straight home games. 8.
Right. Plus one of them being, of course, Florida State. That's your other tough game, I would think.
That's our other ass whipping we're going to deal at.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what, Notre Dame, this is that year for them to go.
We're set.
This
is the year.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
this is the year.
I'm not wrong. And the numbers are what they are. And it's a completely unbiased thing. I mean, if you look at Josh Pates, his predictions aren't always right on either. But his power rankings are what they are. I mean, remember 2 years ago, they went 8-5, Texas did, and they were still had them in the top 5 in their power ranking. Sometimes the power ranking really likes a team. But you'll see what it goes by. There's 5 different parts that go into their algorithm on what they're doing. So you'll see that it'll be out in the morning. First thing, and then I'll have the other one out for the SEC in Oklahoma by afternoon. I just got to finish editing.
Hey, on this.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry, Coach.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was just gonna ask Trojan Fight about the Purdue game. What relevance does that have? Purdue's fucking horrible.
He was just saying that's the only other road game, and I did notice that was an awful lot of games at home.
Yeah, no, it's 8. But you know what? When you're independent, you create your own schedule.
True. They were on the road a lot last year too.
Yeah. One was in Ireland.
That's a long answer. Yeah, you went to that game.
And it was fun as hell.
I bet. Gosh, man, I bet that was a blast. Was it packed out for that game?
Oh, yeah.
I love it, man. Yeah, I believe that.
No,
that's cool as hell.
It was funner than shit. That was my anniversary trip.
Gosh, that's cool, man. I'm glad you guys had fun. That's a good time right there.
It was good.
Yeah.
Good fun. I really want to go to the A&M game, but shit, I'm not willing to pay $800.
Is that what it is? We could at least go and tailgate, but it's kind of kooky around there. I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, I know the assistant head coach at A&M.
Well, pull some damn strings. Come on.
Well, and him and I go way back. His Coach Trooper Taylor. We go way back when he was at Baylor and I was at Skyline, and so I'm thinking about reaching out to him, and because a lot of times their players will not use their tickets and will sell them. So hell, I wouldn't mind. Hell, I'd give them $200 for each ticket and be good. But that would mean, you know what that means, right?
Go to the Temple game on Friday night, and then we could go down to
absolutely
on Saturday.
But you know what that means? I'd be sitting on the damn A&M side.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Ain't all bad. I'd be raising a lot of hell.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one right there. Yeah. Gosh. But man,
but I'd love to go to that one. Because that sets the tone. That game's going to set the tone for our season.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Dramamine before you go in, bro. We're going to have to take some Dramamine. I'd be okay to just go and do the tailgating and kind of chill. If we were on the field, that'd be all right.
No, we'll be on. That'd be the deal. Hell, that's the other thing too. I don't necessarily have to have seats. He can probably get me on the damn field if he wants.
Oh, there you go.
There it is.
That's what you need to do.
I just don't know that he wants to see a Notre
on the
Dame
sideline
visor on his sideline.
We can go incognitus.
No, I will not.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I would do it. I used to always do it. I've never been able to, until the last couple of years. I've never went to games with I went to every time I went to the Red River, I was always wearing Oklahoma stuff, but I never got to just cover it as a.
Right.
The one year that's wrong. I did cover it one time, and I didn't wear anything like that, but that was cool. But I've been to it 3 other times, and so, but you get used to it.
Well, what are we going to do when we play each other in the playoffs?
Why should I root for Texas against Michigan?
We're going to go to that?
Never, huh? Are we what?
When we play each other in the playoffs?
I mean, I think we kind of have to, right?
Oh yeah. How could you not, man? That you get those opportunities. That's why I'm going to go to Oklahoma, Alabama, man. I'm going to head down there. Yeah, man. That's a game.
That's going to be a great game, man.
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see, Oklahoma. I want to get down there. I never took a visit to Oklahoma, so.
Hey, yeah, the Alabama game, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited about the Tennessee game for real because that's the first one at home, and then of course being Josh Heupel, and I think it's going to be a good game. I mean, I think you've got 2 really good quarterbacks that are going to go up against each other. Look, I'm under no illusion that this is going to go easy for Oklahoma. Just so we understand.
Well, it's not easy, no.
And I think the Tennessee is going to be good. What I do think that you have a good shot against. Yes, they've also got a first-year quarterback, but Venables is going to have some stuff that he hadn't. There's no way he's been able to see it. And the reason that I feel really good about it is because their secondary has not been very good at Tennessee. They're good on the defensive line. They probably have the best defensive lineman in the country.
Yeah. Nah, Shotty, I'm definitely going to hook up with you guys at the Bama Georgia game.
Yeah, and that's the other one. Me and Shotty are working on Auburn. We're working on a trip to go to Auburn and Alabama the same day.
Georgia, oh yeah, there you go.
Auburn, Oklahoma.
Hey, who was it talking earlier about how tough it is to play at Auburn?
That was Jackson Arnold.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
But who had said that? Who had told him that was Carson Beck.
Okay.
Yeah.
New Mexico. It surely wasn't anybody from New Mexico State.
No. They're like, nah, man, it's not hard to play there. Shit's easy.
Well, that's where I think that Oklahoma, you look at it, okay, yeah, we get it. Alabama and Georgia, that's their rivals, They're going to get, but Oklahoma they haven't been through all the kooky stuff that's gone on there yet, No,
100.
It doesn't have to be that way. And ignorance is bliss if you're Oklahoma. You don't want to hear about that shit. You don't care.
Yeah, no, that's true. I've kind of said that with like Kalen DeBoer and some of the staff, man. He's kind of like, hey, man, I don't even know what it's like to play there. Oh, well, but it will be interesting to see this year who really starts to, we've talked a little bit about it in the past, but who starts to really like develop the rivalry in the SEC? Like, is Texas, who's Texas going to rival with?
Set up LSU because obviously you get the first 2 years going up against LSU. You're going to go on the road. They've played them in a national championship before when Saban was there. Played them in another playoff, and then now they're going to play them 2 years in a row, home and away. So if you get a couple of good games out of it, then I think I would have liked. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of LSU anyway, but I don't hate them. I respect them, but I'm not a fan.
Well, that leads me to my question for both of you guys. I'm just really curious. What are your thoughts on record for LSU?
Oh man, gosh,
I think there's a big gap between what they could be and what they may be. There's a lot of people picking them to fall.
Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think it's going to be.
I think they're going to be good, man. I think
like win 10 or 11 or
I think they win 9, 10.
God, I'm looking at their schedule right now just to see. 10. I think they go 9-3. I think they drop Ole Miss. I think they dropped the Alabama game.
Hoping that they lose to Oklahoma, but I wouldn't bet on. That's one of the. I've said 9-3, 10-2 for Oklahoma. That's a tough place to go get a win at night.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and it's the end of the season too. That's
Mhm.
the
After you
hard
just played
part.
Alabama too at home. So it's, I mean,
Yeah,
you
well,
go
they
Mizzou, Bama,
yeah, they have God, seriously.
Mizzou, Bama, LSU to end it. If you
Mhm.
get to the playoff this year as Oklahoma, you earned that shit.
Yeah.
Whether it's 9-3 or 10-2, you earned it.
I think LSU either drops one to A&M or Florida, to be honest with you.
I would agree with that.
I think
They lost to freaking Florida State the last 2 years in their opener. So I mean,
because they're at
we've
Florida,
seen them
they're
lose.
at A&M.
We've seen them lose. We've seen
Hey,
them
Brian Kelly's MO, guys, is
lose the game.
he
He
play
should.
they play to their opponents.
Sure.
And a lot of times they lose to teams that they shouldn't lose to, or he does, as far as a head coach. We did that over and over at Notre Dame. I was so,
But he was,
ready to
but
get
you
rid
know,
of
and
his
he was
ass.
lecturing. He was lecturing a Texas guy today about how it's not the, you know, he was saying everything that all the old school, the guys that have been around a little longer, and he's been there. This is year 3 for him too. It's not your one-off win against them like they got against Alabama. It's every week. Okay, Brian.
Yeah, he's a smart fucker.
Yeah, but Brian's an interesting addition as a coach to the SEC. Like,
I don't think
that Georgia gets beat. I don't think that Georgia gets beat this year. I really don't. I think if they lose one, it'll be 1 to Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and then that's their loss for the year.
I tell you what, Georgia, guys, I wouldn't want to be in Georgia.
They're not losing 2 games. There's no way Georgia loses 2 games.
I wouldn't want to be any team playing Georgia this year. They are pissed off.
Yeah.
What happened to them last year?
They're gonna go into the Grove and beat the shit out of. And see, that's the thing. I don't know that by the time. Let's see, by the time Oklahoma gets Ole Miss. Let me look here. I think they will have already played Georgia, right?
I don't know because they play. Ole Miss plays Georgia at the last 4 games of the season. So let me see here.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I think it's week 8. Georgia has at Ole Miss. That would be a game depending on what Ole Miss is doing this year. If Ole Miss is able to put this together, like everyone's talking about, right? Because that was one thing Lane Kiffin was very. If it's a big if for sure, but Lane Kiffin was very, very clear in his SEC media days. What he said, he said, our biggest issue has been being able to survive with the depth and having these pieces come together, right? And
right.
I think the thing is, and he acknowledges that, and also on the standpoint of recruiting, the interesting comment that he made regarding we need to recruit better, but his thing, the biggest part was okay, we have all these pieces because Kiffin's not
afford to lose. You can't afford to lose because they're not going to keep paying for them if you don't.
And I think that's the thing is where he's going to sit there and this might be that year where they have enough of the pieces where they'll be okay and everything kind of clicks into play. They'll be one of those few teams who portal shopped and was successful, right? Because they portal shop, especially on defense. They portal shop hard on defense, but
that's the big question is. But they also went wholesale changes on the defense for coaches. Went out and paid as much as they needed to get the guys that they needed. So Oklahoma's crap. That's a stupid old one. Sorry, I should have just grabbed the other one.
I think the one thing with Georgia that doesn't play to their favor is they have to play at Kentucky before they go to Alabama. Right? I know there's a bye, it looks like, in between, but Kentucky, the thing is, as much as everyone's like Kentucky, well, they're not even that typically that good. Here's the thing. Kentucky is a physical team. They're a physical team.
For Oklahoma. That's right. It comes between the red. It comes after South Carolina, which is between the Red River and Ole Miss. So, yeah, you've got some good breaks in there for Oklahoma with their buys as far as those are concerned, but it's still not an easy. It's not an easy go. I mean, it's definitely not as doable as what you see for Texas, but it is what I think that's the kind of schedule that you still it gets you. There's no time to lay off of anything, and you're going to get hardened by it pretty quick on. If you can go through and if you get to Texas and you're 5-0, or even 4-1 going against Texas, and you beat Texas like you should, then now we're talking. Because we still haven't seen Lane do it. We still haven't seen. We saw 1 year out of, and look, I get it that Missouri has a way doable schedule. It's even easier than Texas's, way easier. But they're going to go on the road to Alabama. They're not going to win that game. And if you get throttled, they're also going on the road to Texas A&M. They're not going to win that game either. How are they going to do with pressure when it comes to November 9th and Oklahoma comes in the house and they've got 1 or 2 losses at most and a great defense? And again, that's what, if Oklahoma gets into the playoff or is contending for it even at the end of the year, it's because that defense is that good.
Oh, yeah.
Their offense is always going to be fine. There's just not a big change in what they're doing. They're going to run the ball a little more. They've got guys to do that. I'm not worried about the offense, but if their defense is what we think it is, yeah. Listen, if you lose to Tennessee, that's not out of the box, but you can't lose them both. I've said a bunch that I'm more worried about Tennessee than I am about Missouri.
So I'm gonna tell you this. We got Alabama in the house, right?
We'll see, Benji.
We got Alabama in the house. We got Oklahoma in the house.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Fighting Irish in the house. We will all be in the playoffs. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I've been saying that I'm not predicting Alabama to take a header. I'm not.
Yeah, no.
All 3 will be in the playoffs.
I don't know about all that. 4 losses for Florida doesn't get them in the playoff, but 3 losses absolutely probably gets them in the playoff because they play the most ridiculous schedule I've ever seen.
Yeah. But they're not going to get there, guys. I love my boy Billy G. That's the receivers coach there that we coached together in Midwestern State together, but they ain't getting that. They ain't getting in.
9. No, they're not going to get to 9.
No.
I think they get to 6 or 7. I think that's still a good season at 6 and 7 with that. And, they're not loaded.
Yeah, Florida's schedule is going to be it's going to be an interesting one because here's the thing with Florida is if they can pull off some of these early wins, they pull in a ton of momentum. Like their team starts believing in weird stuff. Now, can they pull it off? I mean, the coach, you're saying no.
Oklahoma has 7 top 25 games on their roster or on their schedule.
Who?
Oklahoma has 7 current top 25 schools on their roster.
That means if
they were to go 9-3, most likely they would be one of the few that could get in. It would depend obviously on what happens everywhere else. But you can't tell me that you're going to because look, think about the Big 12. All you keep hearing about how competitive it is. And it is. There's a lot of parity in that. And I don't know that that's a good thing for them. I don't think it's a good thing for the ACC either because they're not going to get 2 in. If you got 2 10-2s or you got a 10-2 and a 9-3, you better hope. The only way that 9-3 gets in is if they win the conference championship because they won't put the other one in.
But Jason, parity, it's
the committee likes the SEC, Richard.
I don't know how I want to say this, but parity is, I mean, you know what? If you got a bunch of great football teams and there's parity, that's good. But if you got a bunch of shitty teams and you've got parity, that's not so good.
That's right.
And
That's the truth.
The Big 12.
To be fair, though, Kansas State is going to be very good. Utah and Kyle Whittingham, you have a lot of respect for Utah and Kyle Whittingham.
I do.
And Lance Leipold, too. If Jalen Daniels stays healthy, they're a problem. People can talk all the Kansas
I agree
shit
with
they
that.
want to. It's not Kansas that you remember from before. It's not 2-win Kansas that Texas lost to in year one under Sark.
I agree.
They won 9 games last year without Jalen Daniels.
But Jason, and again, I'm not saying this because I'm a huge fan, but you take the SEC and you talk about parity in the ACC, okay? And then you take the Big 12 and you talk about parity in the Big 12.
It's not a great thing. No, it's not a great thing for them.
And that's my point. You got great and you got shit. And so parity in both of those isn't the same thing.
They're not going to be 11-1. KSU, Kansas, and Utah could all be 11-1. How do you figure that works out, Richard? Because I don't see that.
Richard, you need to send me some of that tequila you're drinking.
I'll tell you what. Let me
schedules.
Real quick. I've got the I've got the preview for it. The summer preview, McClintock. I can't show it, but I could talk about it.
Well, I tell you what's going to be interesting in this whole process, guys.
They've got Utah, TCU. Well, and TCU. The fact that he still got TCU up there in his algorithm. The power rankings got TCU at number 2, Kansas State at 3, Iowa State at 4. Kansas State 3, Utah number 1. So he's got Oklahoma State all the way down at number 6. So let's see. That tells you about their schedule. Now, I think Arizona, I don't know what's going to happen with them because of their coaching situation changing. But he doesn't think much of them. Let me see. And listen, I told you guys that Iowa State was going to be a problem too. And hey, Campbell is only just puts together a top 10 defense every damn year.
Yeah, dude. Or Coach, you were saying something though. You said what is going to be interesting.
He's got Iowa State going 10-2. He's got Kansas going not good. He's got them going 4-8. Kansas State, he's got going 11-1. Oklahoma State, he's got going 8-4. That'll piss Cody right off. He's got TCU going 10-2. This is the model, though. It's not. It's math. So it goes by their projections. Texas Tech, he's picking Texas Tech to go 9-3, but it could also be 4-8. UCF, I wonder about UCF. No, he's got them going 8-4. Record ceiling of 10-2. Utah, he's got 12-0. They're not losing a game according to him. They've only got one toss-up game, and it's UCF at the end of the year. So they're going to go through. They're going to be Oklahoma State. They've got Arizona State, TCU, Houston on the road, BYU at home, at Colorado. But he's got them beating Iowa State, but it's at home. I mean, but they don't have to. I mean, that's a lot. That's a tough gauntlet there too. But Oklahoma State's got a tougher one. That's why
State sucks.
Okie Light. Oh yeah. Well, Okie Light opens with Utah, then is on the road to Kansas State, at home to West Virginia, at BYU, at Baylor, Arizona State, at TCU, Texas Tech, at Colorado.
They could be 0-3, possibly, starting the season.
Yeah, they got to play South Dakota State, defending national champions.
But what I was going to say earlier, guys, is what's really going to be interesting to see.
29-game win streak for South Dakota State in back-to-back natties in the FCS. And then they got Arkansas also in game 2.
Hold on, Jason. What, Coach, you were saying what's going to be interesting? What?
Go ahead.
Because Coach was just saying something.
I was adding that to what he was about to say.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
No. What's going to be interesting to me is with this new 12-team format. I mean, guys, this is the first time we've seen this monster. And how is all that going to play out with the committee? And I mean, you never know what that's going to look like at this point. I mean, I know they're going to talk about weighing out schedules, and there's going to be a lot of factors that go into picking those 12 teams. And can somebody get in with a 9-3? Somebody was referencing Florida earlier. They could get in with a 9-3. Well, can they really? Are you going to take Florida over? And I'm just going to use Notre Dame as an example. Let's say you got Florida at 9-3, Notre Dame at 10-2. Are you going to take Florida or are you going to take Notre Dame? I mean, because we were talking about this earlier. You know what? Money's going to be a big part of this deal too. And bring, who's going to bring in more money, Florida or Notre Dame? If you take the 9-3 or the 10-2. And that's just a small, smidgen of question marks that we have as we look at this entire broad picture of the playoffs. And so there's lots of questions, and it could get crazy. It could get really, really crazy.
No, that's a good point. We kind of broke this down. Jason, we did this the other morning with our little theme of Jason's playoff breakdown. I say Jason's because he had Oklahoma going to the you had him going to Natty? Is that what it was? I can't remember. Where's Boomer 129 when you need him? Where's Boomy? Jason. I think you're muted.
Hey, don't tell him. Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
Yeah, just let him keep going.
I have it. The little where we did the projections thing.
Yeah, we kind of came up with this own little just quick put together thing, but you got to see where you would have these teams that rolled in from a standpoint of saying, okay, does a Florida get in? You're right. Like the money aspect is going to be really interesting because you have it up here.
No, I'm going to find it, but you can look at that for right now, at least.
Yeah. With the standpoint of, let's see here. Now I can look at this from the screen. With Florida, could they roll in versus, Texas? We would expect them to be with their schedule. Granted, you'd expect them to win. Granted, there are some maybe 3-4 games on there, 4-5 maybe that they could be question mark. Okay. Then we look over Ole Miss is another one. Ole Miss has a schedule that favors them for sure, right? They should be one of the teams. Georgia for sure. Alabama, I would say, would be another one. Granted, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and then could you have 5 SEC teams, right? So let's say we said Oklahoma and Texas. Now you could change up anything within 3 of them. But then, so if Florida's 9-3, right? Do they, based on, let's say Texas goes 10-2, along with some of these other ones, Texas goes 10-2, then who else would be going 10-2? You need Oklahoma to go 10-2. And then Ole Miss would have to go 10-2, which they could.
Right.
And then Georgia, where do they have Georgia?
But I just don't see. I don't see 5 SEC teams.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think 4 is probably the max.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
I think it
But
all
again,
depends.
you know,
I think that all
but
depends.
again, back to
So
my point,
it all
though.
depends.
But well, and I was fixing to say, Jason, back to my point. We don't know what the hell this is going to look like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
This was
would,
us screwing around last week on it, but I mean, I could see it working out this way. I had you at the 5. You'd end up playing the 4 to get to the next level there. I don't know who would win that one, but you know, but
you have K-State beating us?
I had K-State beating them. But but actually we were kind of working on these
I
together.
knew you were going to be pissed off, Coach. I said, "Oh, you're going to piss Coach
No,
off."
I'm not pissed off. I think it's fucking hilarious.
Hey, he told me all last year how after Notre Dame lost their second game, he told me all last year how bad OU sucked. So I don't feel bad for him here.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to. I just
fucking
think
with
it's
you
hilarious.
anyways. It's all good. But anyway,
No,
yeah.
I know that.
I mean, I don't know that Oklahoma gets the 6. I think that they could, though. You know, I think that UGA, we're going chalk there with them in Ohio State. Do you really trust Ohio State?
Are you really kidding me? I just saw that. You got OU in the finals?
yeah.
You are.
This is fucking Jason's playoff bracket.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! You are smoking crack, my brother.
See, you just told me they could go. You keep telling me they could go to the playoffs until you see that shit, right?
Oh my! Well, hell, are you? I mean, shit. Y'all are just trying to fucking get through the SEC, and you guys are winning the national championship, or playing in it, or playing in it, and playing in it.
If they have one of the best defenses in the country, they could be. But do I really believe
we're
that?
gonna have one of the best defenses in the country, and we can't beat Kansas State.
You got an easier road to get there too. I agree with that.
Exactly.
I definitely feel like Notre Dame has a better shot than Oklahoma does to get there this year. I promise. I've told you that. We were screwing around on there the other day.
That's not what that says.
Relax.
I'm teasing.
My official freaking picks is not in yet. So that's
oh, thank God for that.
We were talking about possibilities, and you know that, Jake, before you start all that shit up. Kicking you out.
Boomer posted that online, and I was like, dude, that is not my fucking bracket. Do not put anybody. That is not my choice. Like, come on, everybody. That's not my bracket.
That's not my official. Look, I do think they can get to the playoff. I'm not guaranteeing anything about it. And yes, I feel like Notre Dame has a better shot. I definitely see Alabama probably being another playoff team too. I think I've said this on this show 1,000 times. Next year is the year that I target Oklahoma really being in a better position to play for everything, to win it all. We'll see. I think some stuff moved up. You can move it back and look at it again. Trojan fight. I knew nothing.
Yeah, Trojan fight. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Trojan fight said, "Where's the Trojans at? They're still in the package."
I think it's time.
They're still in the package.
You have to prove that you can do that. You have to prove that you can get those wins for sure. I definitely believe that they can beat Missouri and Ole Miss, and I think that they probably beat Auburn and Tennessee. Now, and you guys know I think they're beating Texas, but LSU, Alabama, and maybe Auburn. I mean, you could see those losses happening. You know, you could see a loss to Ole Miss on the road. You might be able to see a loss to Tennessee. I would tell you that South Carolina is a trap game because you got them between Ole Miss and Texas.
I just saw, what's interesting is South Carolina has like over a 70% production rate coming back on defense, yet they are still projected to go like 4-8.
Yeah, but again, how great are these projections? We don't know.
I know. Seriously,
we don't know. I mean,
all I can say is when you suck, you suck.
Lenore Sellers may not suck, and the kid, their receiver,
there he is.
Their receiver is a freaking cheat code,
dude.
He's
He's supposed to be the the
the
best of the
Olympian
best.
kid. Yeah,
Mhm. Boomer, where you been, dude? I was just talking about you, Boomer.
it could be trouble.
129.
That's it, and you get that at a tough time. You've talked about trap games. You come off the Texas game. You've expended a lot to win it, no matter what.
Mhm. Yep.
Didn't look very good last year in your backup game to the Texas game. At least it's at home. It is at home, but so was last year's.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You know, I was watching some training stuff on South Carolina and what they're doing. You know, and because it's interesting. Before DeBoer took the job for Alabama, Beamer had reached out to him to talk to him about what he does to win the way he's won. Which a lot of respect to Shane Beamer from a standpoint of saying, "Hey, as a coach,
for me, man, he's just too goofy for me."
I mean, I like Shane.
I'm not a Beamer fan.
No, you don't like Shane? I thought it was
his act when they get beat is so weird.
Really?
Yeah.
I think so. I even like Shane, but
I think he's a crap.
I don't think he's a great coach, man. I don't think he's a great coach. He's not his pops. And his pops was good for a while.
His pops was fairly decent.
I mean, most people mimic their special teams after his
freaking unbelievable in special teams. They were good.
Yeah.
They were very good on special teams.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
Yeah, but it just is interesting. We'll get to really see what Shane Beamer's about. Like, is this season for him? This is kind of a big season for him because he does have some productivity returning. Right?
I can see Oklahoma making a run at it this year and definitely by next year. But I think that we just talked about it, and we're going to go ahead and finish the show up because we've been on for 3 hours now, and I got to go work. So,
look,
guys, let's just be. They're not going into the SEC bowing down to nobody, and if they have that kind of a defense, they will have a shot against everybody, and that's the one thing. There's no.
They better have a shot. You got them in the finals.
There's nobody on their schedule that they cannot beat.
I agree.
It doesn't mean they beat everybody, but there's nobody they can't beat.
I agree.
Yep. No, I think that's fair. That's I completely agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be, I think Oklahoma's in a position that they get to dictate their future this season, right? With what they have returning, as long as, you know, they are able to stay healthy, because that can dictate some things. But
see you later, Jimmy. Thanks for coming in, buddy.
Hey, Jimmy.
Wipe your feet.
Yeah, I like it, man. Hey, I saw your message too. I'll get back to you as soon as I get a minute, Jimmy. But yeah, I think Oklahoma is, that's why I continuously say they're a dark horse. They're ready. I think they have this attitude of they are the guy at the bar, man. You want to fight. I mean, you don't want to fight, right? Or you want with you in a bar fight in the backyard, then punch you in the face, you know?
Yeah,
so
I agree.
We've got 1,100 viewers. We've had 1,100 viewers, and we got 56 likes. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Hey, at least give us a damn thumbs down. At least. Hey, so I'm gonna pose a question for y'all right now, Jason.
Yeah.
Give me what you really believe OU's record will be next season.
9-3, 10-2. I've said that. I think
So give me one or the other. Not one.
Let me look at this again. Hold on. Yeah, I think they win those two. Yeah, I could see 10 and. I'm not going to give you an official run right now. I don't know. I think.
Well, give me the best you got tonight.
I can see them going 10-2, man. I can.
Okay.
I think they go 10-2. They may lose the last two.
Alabama.
They may lose the last two, but it's
okay. 10-2. I'll take it.
Alabama, I'm going to say they go 11-1.
See, they got Alabama. Yeah, I mean, I think that Jalen Milroe has to pass for 65% plus for them to do that.
Oh, I'm not worried about Jalen Milroe.
Okay.
I'll tell you that right now. If you guys want to know why, go watch my video on my channel.
I like Jalen Milroe as an athlete. I don't know that I think much of him as a passer yet. I haven't seen him do it yet.
Well, I think that's I think that's everybody.
100%.
We've seen him inaccurate. We've seen him inaccurate though.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
but
yeah,
he's a stud. But
lot
and I also, but here's the thing. I do believe that Kalen DeBoer will get things out of him that Tommy Reese wasn't getting out of him.
Yeah.
Tommy Reese can't get shit out of anybody. So.
And this is the other thing. You can't get him sacked that many times either.
Well, yeah. The ball also has to be off the ground. You also have to know how to create good separation and timing routes. And you have to also put your running game into play that synchronizes with your passing game. There's so many factors that came in.
I've said 93 from the get-go anyway, but I see a path to 10-2. I could see, to me, we'll see what happens. But I do believe that if their defense is as good as we think it is, then they can get to 10-2. Because, look, Missouri, yes, do I think they're probably pretty good in their run game? Yeah, but they don't have the kid that had 1,600 yards last year. I don't see them going on the road to A&M or Alabama and winning. And I don't see them beating Oklahoma. I think they earned an ass whipping from Oklahoma. Hell, Drink was talking shit again today about Green.
Yeah. What did he say about that, by the way?
Yeah, he made that comment of here, I'll show you. It's he capitalized on relationships to land former OU offensive lineman Caden Green. He said, I'll tell you. It's funny. When he put his name in the portal, we reached out. Didn't know if we had an opportunity or not. And he says, I remember specifically the phone call from Caden when he told me he was going to go to Oklahoma. I was on, okay, then what did he say? Obviously, we had Mimbo, Armand, and Williams Waneri were going to be coming. So we thought maybe relationships would still be intact, and obviously they were. Yeah, but we know that all came before because they had already made a deal with the NIL collective to give him the money he wanted, and they were tampering. There's no two ways around it. They were tampering. That's what the story is, Trojan Fire. Yeah, we are. Yeah, they're talking shit. Oklahoma, listen. Out of 100 years worth of a rivalry, you're about like Okie Light, bro.
Nobody's as bad at Okie Light.
Not quite. No. That one's 91, 20, and 7. This one's like 70 something and 26 or whatever. Something like that. And I'm sorry, I don't have that much respect for Missouri. Y'all haven't won a conference championship since the 50s. And you've had one season, and it was against a bad schedule. I don't got away with some games. The thicker kicker had a 55-yarder and a plus 60-yarder to win 2 of them. And I mean, Kansas State was 8-4 last year. And Florida, the other one, that was at home. Both of them were at home. And Florida went, 5-7? It is what it is. Yeah. And he was Tulane Gundy. Good. Oh, yeah. Well, whatever. I don't know. I hadn't seen that part. I like that. But I just think that I have to see teams like Ole Miss and Missouri show me that more than once and go and win and beat some of these teams that are
like
better
Texas. Consistency.
But at least Texas is recruiting in the top half of the country. You could understand why they can win games.
You're right. You're right.
When their 6 conference wins, Missouri's 6 conference wins came against teams that were 14-34. I'm sorry that I don't just believe that you guys are hanging the moon.
What was that again? 14-34.
Yes, that's their 6 SEC wins. And they basically
that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost to LSU at home, and LSU had a historically bad defense. One that got their entire defensive staff shit canned. The peace pipe, it's been missing for 50 years. Yeah, I remember that.
It's at my house.
Oh, there you go.
There ain't no peace. But 6 losses were from Missouri. What? Okay. Out of okay, so if you take away those 6, that still gives you 20 and 30. 28. 20 and 28. 14 and 34, bro. It's still a bad record.
You guys. I'm starting to get.
You should, yeah, but you can say that all you want to. About, LSU dropped a touchdown pass right before the end of that game too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's true.
No, that was the Ole Miss game. Ole Miss almost lost to LSU too at home. But you can say, yeah, you were okay. Cool. That means that you didn't. You couldn't hold a league against the worst LSU defense in history. You couldn't hold a 2-touchdown lead. It's not a good sign.
That's crazy, Jason. I gotta roll here though. It's getting late, brother.
I gotta find you, brother. I'm getting out of here too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys, Coach. It's good to see you, Jason. Thank you,
my brother.
Man, I always have fun. Tonight was fun, man. I enjoyed it. I haven't laughed that hard in a minute.
Talking lots of shit, man.
It was awesome. It was a good time. There's some really good stuff, and I always appreciate
fun stuff.
This time. So,
well, I enjoy you, Jake.
Oh man, thanks. That means a ton. Like it really does. I'm lucky to get on with all you guys, and the guys at different channels too. And I just I appreciate the camaraderie and always talking football and getting into it, man. It's a lot of fun for me. So
absolutely.
But yeah, hey, everybody in chat, I appreciate you guys. Those who've hung on for the late night. But you catch me over at Set the Tone Alabama and College Football Talk. I got that new channel rolling. We coming out some videos this week. It's a lot of fun. You can search it with my name and YouTube at Coach_J Mayer. It's all capital letters. But yeah, come check it out. Yep, just down here right below.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just search that and you'll find my channel and come subscribe. Yeah, check it out. Enjoy it.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in, brother. You're gonna come in the morning? Are you gonna do it in the morning?
Yeah, I'll try to jump on with you in the morning. That sounds good. What time are you rolling? Any ideas yet?
It's 10:15 Eastern time, so that'll be 7.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll pop on for sure.
Or even pop on after 30 or 45 minutes if you want. That'll work.
Perfect. Well then, hey, for those joining, we'll see you in the morning. And I appreciate you guys both. Thank you very much, man.
All right, my brother. See you later.
All right, bros. See ya.
Even though you started shit with Coach with me, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Oh, I love it. I love
Coach Jamer, old stash. Thanks everybody for coming in. Not Richard. You know I feel the way I feel about it, but
hit the like or dislike.
Hey man, we've had a lot, lots of love, man. Thank you guys for jumping on with us. We appreciate it and coming in to look, man. We'd love to see some more likes, because still only at 59. We got over 1,200 views. Appreciate everybody, and I know some of them are going to be hater views, and that's fine. But just share it with your friends. If you guys have already dropped a like, we appreciate that. Share it around, man. Share it around, and make sure you get it out there. But yeah, for sure, any given Saturday, right? It's always any given Saturday, brother. Morning show tomorrow. Yep. Thanks, Benji, for coming in. You as well. Everybody that came in: Richard Shear, Alec F1, Benji, Michael Deesh, Boomer 129, Trojan Fight. We also had Benji Satterfield, Hankster, Jimmy Lee Baker,
Kim.
Yeah, of course, Kim. Yeah, call him out when you see him, man. Duke Silversooner. Obviously, Shoddy with Just My Damn Opinion. Jamie Baby.
Shoddy.
Yeah. Who we got? Who else? Obviously, we've got our normals that are always here. Ryman Lemon and Chicken, Stink Ass
Greg,
Cat, Bloody Gun,
Greg Williams,
Jimmy Satterfield. We had, obviously, as usual, Stephen G. Steve B was
Jimmy
in here
Lee
earlier
Baker.
as well. Rob 077, Kim Hurst. Yeah, and we had Kimberly K was in here. The first lady showed up in here to start with and became a member, which we much appreciate. Zoe San 30 as well.
Keaton.
Scott B. Neelio, of course, as always.
Yeah.
J Day. No numbnuts in here today. Timothy Green, as per the usual.
Keaton, but I can't say the last name.
Keaton Galactodon. Keaton Galactodon.
There you go. There you go.
Charles Crows Fly High. Neelio Chicken. Stink Ass Cat Shelby as well. Obviously, Bishop Frank, as per the usual. Yeah, man. I may we'll probably drop a link tomorrow, and you guys can pop in here if you want to. Mars Jams, don't want to forget about Mars Jams, my boy there. Man, we appreciate all you guys.
Baker,
the Cowboys, Trojan Fight. Yeah, man. Good group in here today of people that have commented.
Absolutely.
We appreciate that a ton. Fight on Natties again as well. We appreciate it. We even appreciate our SC guys in here, man. We really do. Thunder
Absolutely.
OU, Sooner in Texas. Let's see. It's easy to miss these guys.
Green.
Gamecock Grind. He's been on here. I know some people got a little pissy at him for some of his comments that he had on his channel. I appreciate the Gamecock Grind.
Okay.
His name is Rooster. Oh, Rooster. He's a good dude. Appreciate him coming on there. Eddie Black as well. Yeah, man. Good show. We'll
great job.
It was a good show, man. We did well tonight. Very well. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
You already say Bishop Frank?
Please do that. Jump in there. Bishop Frank, yes. Yeah, and of course Shelby and
David Chamberlain.
Nania's 420, Sharpshooter. See, I'm almost missing. Good job, Coach. Good job.
Rob O77.
Oh yeah, Rob got him. Rob O77. Yeah. That's one of the few. Him and Richard Shear, the only two Mizzou guys I like in here.
They're good guys, yeah.
Yeah,
they're good guys though.
Yep. Oh, Kimberly K as well. Hogwild Podcast was in here. I didn't even notice that he was in here, man. That sucks. David Chamberlain.
Sooner Cowboys. Sooner Cowboys.
The Cowboys got him. I brought him up. Of course, Hankster, Garrett Bullware as well. Hey, man.
Aeneas, is it?
I got him.
Aeneas 420. You got him?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to hit everybody.
Well, that's pretty much it. Yep, I think we got it. Appreciate everybody for coming in, guys. Check out our merch store for the gear from Coach, and we'll see you all on the next one.